Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Liberty Den. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic week. Jay Street, sir, how are you doing?
I am having a fantastic week. Couldn't be better, man. It's been awesome.
That is good. It has been a good week.
We don't get a lot of victories. It's been a lot of beatdowns for 4 years. So I think it's good. We're all having a good week this week and able to celebrate.
First of many, hopefully, and we're really going to celebrate next week at Gart in Myrtle Beach. Can't wait for that as well.
I can't wait either. You know me, I love Garts, and looking forward to seeing everybody out there. Yeah, that is kind of the funnest part, and the naps you can take during all the
panels.
Yeah,
it'll be fun, man.
Shit.
I'm excited. I can't believe it's here. Like, it's literally 4 or 5 days away. We'll be out there. When are you getting in?
Getting in Wednesday night, about 5:00.
Okay. I'm getting in Wednesday too, but it'll be much later than that.
Oh, you're getting in real late, huh?
Yeah. It might even be considered Thursday morning. I'm not sure. But
are you staying in the main hotel this time, or are you getting banished down the street again?
No, I'll be at the hotel.
Okay.
I'll be on the property. Or maybe not. Maybe I don't want to tell anybody that. Maybe I'm going to be in an undisclosed location.
Well, it'll be your clone that we'll see around the main hotel.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be great though. I mean, it's going to be packed. We have a lot of people there. Biggest one yet. Get your virtual tickets, guys. Get your virtual tickets if you haven't yet.
Yeah, is this a real big venue?
So Friday. Oh man, I'm probably going to speak some misinformation here, but I'm going to do my best. Friday, I believe, where the room we're in is going to be a little partitioned off. And so we're capped at 300 for just Friday, but then Saturday, and this is why we have single day tickets still available, Saturday and Sunday, is we're opening that partition up, so we'll be able to fit more people in.
Oh, cool. So, that's Saturday, huge, though. That's 300 is pretty big.
Yeah, Deadwood, I want to say, was 250, 275 or something. So
that was a big room.
Yeah.
It's even bigger. Wow. Gart is growing. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. Getting better every time. The next one's in Vegas. It's going to be great. So
anybody out there that's a newbie, you're going to have a wonderful time. I guarantee it. Or your money back. Oops. Did I say that?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter if he says it doesn't count.
I hold no weight.
But I mean, we probably could make that promise because everybody has a great time.
Everybody has a great time. Yeah.
I don't know who else is going to be joining us. I think Alpha is, but we all know Alpha never shows up on time. So we'll see. And that might be it. I don't know. But either way, we're just going to hang out, talk a little bit, see what the audience wants to talk about, have some fun. Before we get into any of that, let's get a quick word from our sponsors of today's show. And first up, we got our own merch. We sponsored ourselves.
Hey there, Badlanders. Do you love Badlands as much as you hate communism? Do you want patriotic apparel that's not made in China, but also won't make you look like a dork? Well, then we've got just the thing for you. Introducing an entirely new line of official Badlands gear made in partnership with the Culture Warriors at Rise Attire and Rise INTL. With 4 brand new collections of original artwork across a wide range of products to choose from. Spread the signal with deep-cut symbols from Devolution lore to the ghosts in the machine on the front lines of the Psy War. Wrap yourself in America the Beautiful with the warm tones and textures of Badlands National Park. To the eye of the storm in Mount Rushmore. This is premium quality streetwear, custom made to order from scratch just for you by the Patriots at our East Peoria, Illinois facility. Don't wait. Explore the entire store and order your new gear today at badlandsmedia.tv/rise. Represent Badlands boldly and proudly. This culture war ain't gonna win itself.
Man, I love that merch. Did you get one yet?
Dude, it's so good. No, I haven't ordered it yet. Shit. They're going to be there at Gart though, right?
It'll be at Gart.
Okay, that's why I won't get it there because I remembered that. I saw Rosalinda had that Cywar shirt. It was pretty damn cool. The sweatshirt. Right. Really nice. Hey, is that call sign Cujo doing the voiceover on that commercial?
It kind of does sound like I kind of just realized that. I saw in the chat somebody asked where Gunnels is. I have been talking to him. He is alive. He is currently his reason for not showing up tonight is he is going to be, and I'm going to say this exactly as he phrased it.
Oh, man.
He is. Hold on, I gotta find it. It was. Oh
It's gonna
man.
be something gay, isn't it?
Yep, pretty gay. Where the hell? Where's it at? Now I can't find it. But it was something along the lines of, "I'm gonna be dancing." Here it is. I would, but I lost my voice. Oh no, that was Zach. Here we go. I will be performing a tango routine in public. That was Patrick. So he's dancing. I'm a little jealous that his dancing is taking over his streaming time.
Yeah. Well, man's got to do what he's got to do to keep his wife happy, I guess. I don't know if that's the reason or if he's really into it. Seems like he's really into it, actually.
Oh yeah, he's too into it. That's the problem. Like he's like way too into it.
Probably him dragging Ashley through it, right?
Yeah, no kidding. We should ask her. Actually, I don't think she'll be at Gart, but I would love to know who's the one dragging who to the dancing stuff because I definitely feel like it's Patrick.
Yeah, he's the
the
dancing
dancing
queen for sure.
Jinx. Yeah.
Did you say
Oh,
that?
yeah, I said at the same time. We do have one more sponsor I want to get to quick, and then the world's your oyster, man. We can talk about whatever you want. Bitcoin. And the reason I really want to talk about this one is because of how well Bitcoin is doing this week. If you had listened to us previously when we talked about Bitcoin, you would have made money this last week. So right now, Bitcoin is up to like $76,300 or something. So are you ready to diversify your assets with Bitcoin? Introducing River, the official Bitcoin partner of Badlands Media, where you can navigate the world of Bitcoin with confidence. With River, you can buy Bitcoin like a pro. With the assurance of being licensed and regulated right here in the United States, River ensures your Bitcoin journey is smooth and secure with on-demand live support at your fingertips. River empowers you to grow your portfolio without any unwanted surprises and eliminates third-party custodians, putting you in control of your assets. Open an account with no minimum purchase requirement. You can get your Bitcoin journey started with just $10. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/river to create your River account today. That's badlandsmedia.tv/river, shaping the future of finance one Bitcoin at a time.
Nice. One of the fun side notes of Tuesday was watching Bitcoin go to the moon while we were watching the election returns come in.
I know, that was so cool.
It was
And
pretty,
Bitcoin
it was
too,
pretty
like,
awesome.
it's at an all-time high right now, and the way it's being talked about, like with Elon Musk and Trump and this future administration, and I just see it going so much higher. Like literally, just get yourself some sats, start putting $10 a month or whatever you can afford into this. You won't regret it long term.
Yeah, I've been doing little weekly automatic purchases through River since before Dallas Gart, and yeah, it's great. Just you don't even have to think about it because I'm not a guy that thinks about my money very often. I don't know. I guess too busy with work and stuff. So it's real.
Yeah.
It's a no brainer.
Yep, that's how I do it too. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you want to talk about? We might as well talk about the election. That's kind of big news.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been, when I said I had a fantastic week, part of my fun is the people I get on my table. So I had a little bit of a slow week because I think most of my libtarded patients did not want to show their face in public this week. They were in mourning or whatever, but a few of them came in and it was pretty interesting. I had a lady just like absolutely losing her mind on my table, crying hysterically.
Are you
shaking?
serious?
Oh yeah, like shaking. Like a lot of my patients really open up and talk to me like I'm a psychotherapist while I'm working on them and stuff. And she was just absolutely losing her mind. She's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I think he's going to. I wouldn't be surprised if he started World War III. So I like to, I don't like to tip my hand. Yeah, I don't like to tip my hand, obviously for business reasons, but I do say smart ass things. So when she said that, I said, I guess we got to just hope we get that Trump from the first term, the one that didn't get us into any wars for the first time of any president in my lifetime. And she just looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I said, yeah, look it up. He literally did not get us into a war and he made peace with Kim Jong-un. So maybe we'll get that Trump, and we'll be spared this World War III you're speaking of.
And did she actually like look it up? Did she have any interest in?
She didn't. She just kind of took my word for it, and then I gave her my stock answer, which is, you know what? If you're worried about it, just like turn internally. Just circle the wagons and just hang out with your family and do things for you and don't worry about what's happening in the world, and it'll go by just as fast as it did the first time.
Did you see this like movement that's going on? And maybe this is what you can recommend to your patients moving forward. There's like this these liberal women are out there and they're like, we're going to abstain from having sex until men treat us right or something. It's like,
and it's all the women nobody really wants to have sex with anyways. So, because God forbid these people actually sacrifice something of meaning to them.
yeah, but it's like, yeah, that's what you should have been doing the whole time. Like you're
right.
Like you should only be sleeping with people that treat you right. So now you're
Well,
gonna be
that's
doing
true,
that
right? Because exactly.
because Trump won. Trump's just changing the world, man. Let me
Not
see if I
to
can find some
mention,
videos.
shouldn't they all be like hiding out, like sort of like World War II style, like Nazi Germany style? Because isn't Hitler now in power and going to put them in concentration camps? That's what they were saying, and that's what they were told. So now that he's in a position of power, you would think they would be, just putting themselves up in a basement somewhere or up in an attic, hiding out.
It's crazy. I don't know if this is a good video to show because I haven't watched it, but whatever. We'll see if this works.
Yes, let's do it.
And I'm definitely not gonna play the whole thing 'cause it's like 7 minutes, but we'll know pretty quick if this is the right one.
All right. 4B movement starting.
4B, that's what they're calling it.
I've decided that cigarettes don't count today, and I honestly might go get a tattoo.
If you don't know what the 4B movement is, Korean women had decided to stop having babies until they received equal rights.
That is not a joke. That is not an exaggeration. They are not dating men. They are not marrying men. They are not having children with men. They're not even sleeping with men anymore.
And neither are you.
Movement, because the Korean words for those four things all start with the letter B.
Today, I want to get into the expansion of the 4B movement into the 5B movement, the 6B movement,
Oh
the Chinese iteration of the 6B, 4T, or 10BT movement, the 7B movement, the 8B movement.
Of course, they already have a million different
Stop
letters
having
for
sex
it.
for the next 4 years.
I want the men in this country to know that half the female population, we're dry.
For the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men.
I've literally broken up with a man because he voted for Trump. And you can too. All I have to say is good luck getting laid.
I'm dry as a desert, baby. And I don't want it to change.
You can stop dating men. Stop having sex with men. Stop talking to men.
I mean, this is how we depopulate the liberal movement right here.
Absolutely, man. I'm thinking it's like the trash taking itself out. It's kind of like when they were all lining up to get their booster shots. It's like good for you guys. And they were what was that at the DNC when they had the mobile abortion clinic there?
Yeah.
Perfect. They had the vasectomies too. Beautiful.
This will also take care of that issue because if they're not having sex, they won't need abortions. So
abortions are going to plummet. It's a win-win.
I mean, holy cow.
I love it. And just the less of their genes in the gene pool.
I'm all for the liberal female 4B movement. I fully support it. I want a shirt. I'm going to wear a shirt next time. Well, how about you get one of our shirts first and then you can get a 4B movement shirt, but
I'm going to do that next week.
We'll work on it. It's just crazy. It has been fun. Like that's probably been my favorite part. Like we are at the very beginning of a long series of wins, right? I mean, we've got a lot of battles ahead, but to see the liberal meltdown, that's so rewarding. So rewarding.
It's been great. There's so many losers that I would love to just discuss for a little bit with you, John. Like, how about Jimmy Kimmel, like crying on air? The dude went from like man show, like girls jumping on trampolines and, doing his Karl Malone imitation, everything, to like crying on air because Kamala didn't win. I was like, what a fucking pussy. What does Adam Carolla think of that guy? That's what I want to know. Are they still friends? Or he can't be because Carolla is so based. Well,
do you remember? Okay, I searched Jimmy Kimmel on Twitter because I want to find the video of him crying. All the stuff he's been saying about Trump being like, a threat to women and all these things, all about women. And look at this, the first video that pops up.
Tell us what you think of the statue. I mean, do you think
that's the guy?
Do you think that's
That's Jimmy.
That's the guy. Same guy that's crying on air.
But here he is.
Let's be honest. It was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Oh, Jimmy. This is what happens when you sell your soul for a fame. That's
Yeah.
what you turn out to be.
And maybe he was crying over the 4B movement too. Maybe he's not going to have anybody to sleep with or something. I don't know. But what I am looking forward to is over the course of the next 4 years, like remember all these videos, all these things that the Jimmy Kimmels of the world are saying, the Rachel Maddows, like they're trying to say, like, you'll find out now, guys. They're trying to pre-dunk on us for what they think is going to happen in this Trump administration, because either they're deliberately lying or they've been so brainwashed by the mainstream media, but they're going to be proven wrong at every turn. Like Trump's upcoming administration, if it goes the way it should be going, we're going to be able to, we're never going to have a liberal or leftist president again, as long as he fixes the election fraud system.
Right. Exactly. That's key. And that goes without saying, but we'll say it again anyways. But these people, if they have a shred of credibility left at all, when Donald Trump makes America great for every American, including the liberals that didn't vote for him, where are these people? They're on an island by themselves. I mean, the Jimmy Kimmels, the Rachel Maddows are going to look even more foolish than they already look with their last few viewers. So
this is great. Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert spotted in the bathroom. So good. It's Antonio Brown.
Man, is that Antonio? Oh, that's Antonio Brown that posted that.
Yeah, did I tell you I messaged him on Twitter like 2 months ago when he first started like going pro Trump. I was like, hey man,
really?
I would love to have you on a show sometime, talk about like Trump and whatnot. And he actually messaged me back.
Did he really?
But he was like, yeah, man, what kind of budget you working with? And I was like, no budget.
That's the Antonio Brown I knew when he was with the Raiders for like a week and showed up to
he
camp
was with the Raiders.
Yeah, he was with the Raiders. They traded like a 3rd round pick for him and gets to camp. That was the year they were on Hard Knocks, and he shows up and his feet are all burnt from I don't know what he did, but he couldn't practice at all. And then he just went absolutely nuts, and they ended up releasing him, I think, a few games into the year. But yeah, kind of a nut job. I mean, reaching a different segment of the population for sure. But hey, MAGA's a big tent, we'll take it.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm also curious. Do you remember Harry Sisson, like those guys?
Yeah, that little pussy.
Yeah, like people like that. I would love to just talk to them now. Like now. I mean, maybe not even now, but
in a little bit.
Give it 2 years of Trump being in office and turning things around, and then confront those people on air and just ask them, like, what do you got to say now? Like everything you stood. I mean, these people get paid
and that's
directly by the Democratic Party to push the propaganda, but
yeah, we talk a lot about the Q post where it said you have to show the people, you can't just tell them, and that we took it to mean the 4 years of hell that we just been through with the Biden administration, but it could also mean you have to show people how great things can be, and that's going to actually wake up the rest of the population, other than that 4 to 6% that are too far gone. But I think that's what it means.
Out of that 4 to 6% or whatever, I'm like where I'm at with the people that are left. There are some people that are unreachable, probably like totally gone, brainwashed, whatever. A lot of the people I think we actually see, pushing the propaganda for the left, like from the media, the Harry Sissons of the world, all those people are doing it for financial reasons. Like I just think they're liars.
Oh yeah.
I don't think
just
they actually.
Well, just like all the people that were at Kamala's rallies were getting paid. All the stars she hired, that to do these concerts that they never did, but they just got up and read from their phone for 3 minutes. Like she burned through $1 billion. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. We'll have to ask Ash or CanCon, but I think I read that Trump is the first president to have won spending less than their opponent, and he spent way less. I think he spent like 400 million. She spent over $1 billion, and I think that same was true in 2016. But yeah, that's never happened, and that's one of the things I hope changes too. Like our system is so screwed with how it's always whoever has the biggest war chest wins. I would change all of that and make it where there's like a public fund for each candidate. They get the same amount of money and it's minimal, so we don't have to be bombarded with the amount of advertising and everything we see, during the campaign season. And that's it. There's no donations. There's nobody beholden to anybody because there's no campaign fundraising. I mean, that's my liberal solution to everything. Some socialist fund for candidates.
Yeah, I mean, blowing through $1 billion in a campaign is nuts. And she wasn't even in the campaign that long. Like, she didn't do most of the campaign. So
No, she started in what? Was it July? Holy
Well, yeah,
crap.
so I'd like to know if that was just her portion of the campaign or if that was hers and Biden's combined. Either way, it's still an atrocious number. It's huge, but
And she overspent. She's 20 million in debt
Yeah,
now. They're trying to
that's
raise
what I
money for people that just feel sorry for her. I can't imagine anybody would give her a penny after that horrific campaign.
emphasis on the whore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nuts. The political system has a lot of cleaning out to do, and that's what, especially Wednesday's show when we were talking, like, this is step one. I look at this as like we're in this protracted battle, right? And we were pushed back to the brink, and now we finally won the first like major battle, major offensive in a long series of battles to come until we can actually win this war. And so, like, we have a long ways to a lot of things to fix, and 4 years, guys, that's going to go quick if Trump isn't ready to go. And this is the next thing that's driving me nuts already, is seeing all of Con Inc. on Twitter, just right back to like the same people that turned on DeSantis or turned on Trump for DeSantis are all now like trying to push public perception about who Trump should pick for his cabinet. Like, they're like, oh no, not that guy. That guy's terrible. We need this person as the guy. Like, the same people pushing DeSantis over Trump are now trying to dictate who Trump picks for his cabinet. And I just want to tell them all to fuck off.
And I guarantee you, Trump already has his entire cabinet set and ready to go. I mean, he already named his chief of staff. Was her name Susan Miles? Is that her name? Yeah. Which I think is a good choice. Yep. But yeah, these people, again, it's, I don't know where, the nerve of them after basically bailing on him the first chance they got, jump back on the bandwagon and then start dictating things. It's crazy. But
it's not even the nerve of them, because like, it's no surprise that they're doing it. It's everybody that like, we should know better, right? Like, InfoWar guys. Those are the people that you should maybe take with a grain of salt. They've had an agenda since day one. They turned on Trump with an agenda, and they're going to have an agenda now. I mean, once he became the candidate, you ride the coattails again, and then they can disrupt Trump's administration just as good as the left can, and that's what they're doing. And so, yeah, maybe on one of these power hours, we'll call out some of the behavior. I don't have the list of names here now, but
you're
crazy.
Getting back to your point, John, though, it is like a major hurdle. To me, it's like we just gone through a baseball season, and the Dodgers just won their division, and they're celebrating with their champagne and everything, but they're in the back of their heads, they're knowing this is just the beginning. We just got into the postseason basically, and we've got a long hard road ahead, but we're in a good position, and so I like that we're celebrating. We need to, our victories have been far and few between, so let's celebrate, but then, back nose to the grindstone, and we'll get back into it. But I think Trump's going to hit the ground running. You saw that video
in there. We still have to like, he's not even going to be inaugurated for 2.5 months. There's so much that could happen in between here. I just want us to be ready to go. I don't want to, we'll celebrate at GART. We'll celebrate at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, we're gonna have that's the thing. And you're like our Dave Roberts, dude. You're like our skipper. You're just gonna
I don't even know who Dave Roberts is.
He's the manager of the Dodgers, dude. They just won the World Series.
I hate the Dodgers. Speaking of fraudulent systems, their payroll is so big that the whole MLB
not as big as the
payroll,
Yankees and not as big as the Mets.
Okay, well, who cares? They need a payroll system like the NFL where everybody has a budget.
The reason they don't is because of the players union. The MLB players union is the strongest players union of any sport, and they'll never ever go for that. So the compromise was to have a luxury tax. But there's these teams like Steve Cohen with the Mets. He's a fan of the Mets. He bought the team on a whim just because he's such a big Mets fan, and he said he will spend billions if that's what it takes. and his payroll was over $350 million this year, and he doesn't
insane.
care. So the luxury tax is it's just pocket change to that guy. So it's not a deterrent.
No,
I
Trump's
agree
gonna
with you though.
lower
I think
taxes.
the
Oh,
great thing about the NFL is having that competitive balance with the salary cap.
yeah, it's got to get fixed because the disparity in baseball, like that shit, is what drives me nuts.
And it's
Like,
getting worse. I mean,
I do
there's
love the movie Moneyball though. That is a good movie.
yeah.
And I know
But everybody's
money
onto
isn't
that.
everything.
There's no more advantages anymore. Everybody
I know.
does metrics now. So
Yeah. Now people are paying the most money to the metrics. Like shit. It's just fucking whatever. Whatever.
well, I
I'm not
had
a
to bring up the
fan, so
Dodgers. I had to bring up the Dodgers because
if you ever
it's
call
like
me Dave
two-
Roberts again, I will.
2 weeks of me. Well, you're the skipper, dude. You're the world champion. Come on, man.
Okay, no,
It's a
well,
compliment.
let's think of a different world. I'll be Andy Reid. How about that?
You could be Andy Reid. You just need some barbecue sauce in your beard and some ribs in your teeth or something.
I could go
That
for
dude's
some ribs.
badass. So I love Andy Reid. I have to say, and I'm a Raiders fan. I can respect that guy.
He's
I wish
just
he was my
like
coach.
he's brilliant, but it's just funny. Whenever you see like when I think coach, it's like, okay, somebody who played. I know this isn't necessarily the fact, and he did play, I believe, but he just doesn't look like he played. He just does not look like an athletic human.
No.
But he's like one of the best offensive minds in football. It's crazy. But anyway, what were we talking about?
I think we were talking about losers after this election. I think the legacy media is something we should talk about too.
Oh yeah.
Their meltdown, and the Democrat Party, their pundits that go on these shows and everything, absolutely having zero introspection at all. It's just immediately misogyny and racism and sexism that's caused them to lose. It's not and I just love it. It's like keep thinking that you'll never win an election again if you're not going to look at all the things that are wrong with your party. You're just going to blame it on a bunch of and of course it's the Latin men and it's this, it's that. It's nothing but everyone else but them.
Yeah. I wonder at some point you think they would have to change, especially if Trump starts implementing this stuff. And I think you were going to bring up something about videos or something, I think, when I asked who Dave Roberts was. But when Trump starts implementing his agenda and like the reality is not what the mainstream media is painting it to be, right? Which is essentially what's happened these last 2 years, where they're trying to say like everything's fine, everything's great, Trump's a Nazi, all these things. That wasn't reality, and people could realize that for themselves, and so they chose not to believe it and go to the polls and vote accordingly, or so we're told. The same thing's going to happen now. They're going to try to frame reality as all things are bad, all things Trump does is bad, whatever, and it's not going to be reality. And people are going to feel it. They're going to feel it in their pocketbooks. They're going to feel it just everywhere they go. And at some point, they're going to have to actually become what news organizations are meant to be, or they're just going to get completely dismantled along the way. Like, I don't know what Trump's actual plan is for the media. I feel like some of those people did commit treasonous shit, like with some of the shit that they pulled against Trump, like some of these stories, the dossier story. There's a whole host of just totally made up bullshit that they ran with just to try to disparage Trump. And maybe
And the key word is knowingly. They knew it was all bullshit and they ran with it anyways.
I'm curious to see what happens to them. Like there are certain people that I don't think should get off easy. Like just like a Chris Cuomo, right? Or is it Andy Cuomo? Which Cuomo is it?
Chris Cuomo is the CNN guy. Yeah.
Like that guy, like he went and rebranded himself and he's on a new news organization. Like that guy was one of the worst ones too.
He was one of the worst, and maybe it's a case of strings cut, or it's a case of self-survival. I think it's probably more the latter. He saw the handwriting on the wall and don't want to get caught up in this. But
not acceptable.
I think
to me.
Best case scenario for the media, legacy media, is they are just absolutely irrelevant. Worst case scenario for them is they are going to be punished for crimes of treason.
Yeah. Also one thing to keep in mind that RFK Jr., when he gets back in there, he says he's going to go after Big Pharma and make it like they can't advertise on these channels. Like think of the revenue that some of these mainstream media channels are going to lose when they no longer get Big Pharma dollars. That could, it could get interesting.
Honestly,
that's like
that's a brilliant first stroke if that's what they're planning on doing. If RFK's planning on making that happen, it is a conflict of interest. I think we're the only country in the world that has like advertising for drugs on TV.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of nuts. Ask your doctor about this and that, and then rattle off that really
Yeah.
fast list of side effects that nobody can hear or understand.
But that's just the beginning. We just it's our job, guys, because the goal isn't just to like get Trump in there and go on a bunch of winning and then like sail off into the sunset. Because the evil people in this world will not allow that to happen. They'll start from square one if they have to, but they will slowly try to infiltrate and crawl their way back into power again. We're lucky to be where we're at right now. But if we never want to allow that to happen again, there's a lot of things that we can't like just move on from and forget. Like sometimes when we call out some of these conning people on Twitter, when we call it a Tim Pool, and like people in the chat like, oh, you just got to move on, like all these things, like stop. No, like these people are part of the problem. Like that's what we're here to do, is fix the problem.
Right.
So
Not just
you have to
mask the
continue calling that
symptoms,
out.
but get to the root of the problem. And
Yeah.
that's, that's the chiropractic philosophy as well. Don't just take a pill to cover your pain. Let's fix the source of the pain. And so the source of our problems is very deep seated. As we know, the swamp runs very deep, but I think everything was prepped in the first term and he's ready to hit the ground running. There he is.
What's up? Filling our DEI requirements. How's it going, man?
Doing my best, man. Doing my best.
Now, if we only had a black guy on here, it'd be good.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not gonna go there.
I'm just kidding, bro. What's up, man? I haven't talked to you since like what time? Oh, when you ditched us for another election stream on Tuesday.
I didn't ditch you. I was already
Yes,
there.
you did.
No, I was already there. I actually left
You
that
were
one.
there and you
I left
ditched
that
us for
one,
some other stream.
Come to this one. No, it was my
Whatever.
own.
Whatever.
It was my own
Whatever.
stream.
Whatever.
But what are you guys talking about?
We talk about you, but
Talking shit.
we weren't talking about you. We were just talking. What were we talking about? The media and their role in this whole thing.
Talked about election a little bit first. Talked about Jimmy Kimmel being a faggot. We talked about Harry Sisson being a faggot. We talked about the 4B movement. The women are simultaneously like decreasing their own population.
What
And
is this 4B? I keep hearing 4B.
Yeah.
okay,
It's
let me show
a
you.
Korean thing.
Let me show you.
4B comes from 4 Korean words that begin with B that supposedly means we're not having sex with you because we're
I've heard of
angry
the 3 Bs. They taught us 3 Bs in law enforcement. So I was thinking the 4
Same
Bs.
thing. It's the same thing as the law enforcement one.
Really?
Pretty sure. Yeah. Same. Just tell me if I'm correct here, but pretty sure they're the same thing.
All right. 4B movement starting. You know what we're going to do?
I've decided that cigarettes don't count today, and I honestly might go get a tattoo.
If you don't know what the 4B movement is, Korean women had decided to stop having babies until they received equal rights.
That is not a joke. That is not an exaggeration. They are not dating men. They are not marrying men. They are not having children with men. They're not even sleeping with men anymore. And it's called the 4B movement because the Korean words for those 4 things all start with the letter B.
Today, I want to get into the expansion of the 4B movement into the 5B movement, the 6B movement,
The Chinese iteration of the 6B4T or 10BT movement, the 7B movement, the 8B movement, and the 8B4T movement.
And I think all women should stop having sex for the next 4 years.
I want the men in this country to know that half the female population, we're dry.
For the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men.
I've literally broken up with a man.
So essentially, they're not going to have sex with men until Trump's out of office or something.
Yeah,
is
and they're going to break up with
retarded.
men that voted for Trump.
Well, I
So
think
they're-
it's brilliant, though.
So they just upped the ante for conservative women.
Yeah.
Yes. Not only so they're going to decrease their own population, they're going to lower the abortions in this country by like significantly, I'd imagine. And I mean, being honest, looking at the material that we just saw there, they probably weren't sleeping with a lot of people anyway
Yeah,
already.
there's only, I think, one in there that was kind of cute.
Alpha gross. They're liberals.
Well, they'll
I
end up
said-
they'll
it's-
end up
it's-
sleeping with each
listen,
other, and
listen,
as
there
far
was-
as I
there
know,
was
you
one-
can't.
There's one in there wearing like all this leather shit. I was just like, man, she's looks like the kind that'll probably choke you and tie you up.
Oh, gross, Alpha. Come on.
I'm just saying, man. No, so in law enforcement,
Californians.
they warned us about the 3 Bs. They said the 3 Bs will get you fired. Booze, bitches, and bills. Those are the 3 Bs. So I thought it was something like that. But this is different. Well, you know what? This is not.
Yeah, I was
mean,
joking about them being the same.
Oh, but I mean, it's kind of good because it kind of moves that gene pool out of the way for
Yeah.
a while, which
Some
is not a
sense.
bad thing.
Can you the booze, bitches, and bills? Like
It was booze, bitches, bills. Those are the
This
3
is
things
like-
that'll get you in trouble.
Is this
Like
like in the
money?
manual?
What's a
Oh, it's
bill?
not in the manual. It's your field training officer. We would train you on it, but it's not in the
Okay.
manual. Can't put
No,
that
I
in the
just-
manual.
I can see why not. But okay, but like what the bills? Like what do you mean, like currency?
So in the law enforcement profession, although I've heard it's changed a lot, you have to maintain fairly decent credit and all that. And part of the reason being is, if you're not, largely in debt or you're not dealing with financial
Compromise.
issues, yeah, then there's opportunities that are because you get large sums of money that get put in front of us that nobody would ever know about, especially when you're dealing with criminals. So that was the bills part. The booze part was, well, you drink too much booze, you're gonna do stupid shit. And I mean that kind of explains itself. The bitches part was this is
Self-explanatory.
it's
No, I want to hear him explain it.
So when you start getting that crazy one that wants to throw a brick through your truck window or through your apartment complex, or all of a sudden, you're trying to push her out of the apartment because you're like, can't be here. Like, we've been broken up for 15 years. And then she's like, he hit me. Well, now there's going to be an IA for domestic violence and stuff like that. So the 3 Bs, those are the things that
Nice.
we would caution against.
Well, now we have the 4B, the 5B, the 6B, the 7B, the LGB, 4B, TQ. Like that one, the one in here where they're already like making it multiple. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No,
I love
mean,
how they love to tack things onto it. Yeah.
But
There you go.
anyway,
No, you know what? Actually, it's really beneficial to us because there's the thing. I was thinking about what I said. I was like, well, this ups the ante for the conservative women, but conservative women aren't going to sleep with the kind of dude that sleep with those kind of chicks anyways.
Right.
So essentially what you're doing is you're just hurting that movement, not ours.
Yeah, like
I don't understand.
basically all those soy boy like little fags that went to the the booth and voted for Kamala
like Harry
are
says,
shit out of luck. Like they're not
Who's
getting
probably not getting
conservative
laid anyway.
chicks ever, no matter what they did. And now they're not even going to get liberal girls. They're just like dry for 4 years.
Do they not realize some of the population issues that are happening in some of these Asian countries?
No, they don't care about that stuff, man.
No.
Dude, this is the party that had abortion clinics and vasectomy clinics at their freaking party convention.
Yeah.
Our quote unquote adversaries, I won't say that I really believe they are promoting growing families and babies in their countries like Russia. And
no.
there's a part of this country that's just like, we're gonna be dry. Probably we're dry already. I mean, come on.
It is interesting. Elon Musk talks about like the population decline quite a bit in this country. Like that's been a topic of his for like over a year now.
Yeah.
How our population is declining. But one of the things Trump's going to do when he gets in there is his IVF stuff for everybody, like paid for free, which is awesome. That could help.
Yeah, there's a lot of Agenda 47 stuff that really looks towards increasing the population here.
Yeah,
That's
everybody's
a badass shirt, JH here. I just saw that. That's so cool.
Oh, dude, it's celebratory.
It is.
Celebratory
It's
Trump,
like-
man.
what's cool is I can actually see, like, even though it's like static movements, my brain tells me like what it
You
looks
can,
like.
you
Yeah,
can, yeah, you can fill in the blanks there. Like
there are no
full
blanks. Those are
animation.
like the 3 moves he does just back and
That's-
forth.
that's it.
That's true.
There
So-
are no blanks.
On the way home right now, I was in a hardcore liberal space. Hardcore, because I just like
Where at?
On X.
Oh.
It was
I thought you meant like driving.
no, well, yeah, it's in your ear. It's just AirPod.
Yeah, I thought you meant like a hardcore liberal area of California or
Oh, no,
something.
no,
But
no,
okay,
no,
I,
like,
I get where we're on the same page.
Yeah,
We're on the same page.
virtual town hall. And I'm in there, and it was Miley's space for those that are curious or follow me around the X. And it is crazy. Like they're sitting in there and I'm listening, right? And they're like, MAGA or maggots, as they like to say. And it just makes me smile now when they said, they won this presidency through fear mongering. And then they continued on to say to their people that are listening, now we're worried about the women in Texas who are going to bleed out. And, people aren't going to get their medications. I'm like, you just said that we won by fear mongering. And like, you're literally just trying to scare the shit out of your entire base. One, if you have an ectopic pregnancy, you can get treatment. If you're having a miscarriage and you're hemorrhaging, you're going to be able to get treatment. Like all the things they're talking about is like, no, that's BS. Like all those things are covered. And Trump's even covered them publicly.
Yeah.
But-
I don't know where they come up with this stuff. And like at some point they're going to have to stop the propaganda. I mean, they're just going to see for themselves. Like a year into Trump's administration, when none of the things that they've said are going to happen, What are they going to do then? They're just going to keep going on X Twitter Spaces and screaming at each other about women not bleeding out in Texas?
Yeah,
whatever.
And you know, the one thing. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, go ahead, Alpha.
The one thing I hear some conservatives talking about, and I've been trying to ease some people's minds about it. People are concerned about going to war, and I mean, Trump already showed in his first administration he wasn't about that. He'll do tactical moves, but he's not going to go to war. So I was telling everybody, listen, I can pretty much guarantee you, at least the first 2 years of his presidency, he's not going to get us into any major conflict. And the reason being is because of who Trump is. Trump doesn't like to lose. And the condition that our military is in right now with the steel for the ships, we have a lot of service members that are, bioweapon injured. Some of them have not disclosed it because, they don't want to get pushed out. So, and Trump knows this. Like, there's enough intelligence that's coming out that he knows this. That's why he was pushing so hard. Like, hey, we're going to bring these guys back. We're going to make it right with them. Our military, as great as it is right now, is not in a position to fight the type of global conflict that the deep state wants to see happen. And it'll take at least 2 years to get us probably to where we can be decent in a fight. We're not there right now.
Who would we possibly go to war with on a global scale? Like who? Russia? That's not going to happen. Not with everything that we think is going on behind the scenes. China?
Completely
not going to happen.
I completely agree.
The only, let me just say this real quick. The only entity or group that I could see him going to war with, and I wouldn't even call it a war because I don't think it's going to be a full. I could see him going in there, bombing the shit out of some of the leaders of Iran because of all these assassination attempts and some of the stuff he said about it. Like, if there was a country that tried to take out a presidential candidate in our country, in America, that country wouldn't even exist anymore. But he's also said stuff like, I'm not going to interfere in Iran. We're going to let the Iranian people choose who their leaders are. I could see him doing some shit there, just like clean sweep, you're done, off the game board, and let him start fresh. But that'd be it. I think we're going to get out of that Ukraine-Russia war. The Middle East-Israel, whatever situation is going to be resolved. And I don't think we're going to have to worry about a single thing all 4 years. The game board is not what the left has portrayed it to be or the deep state wants it to be. It just doesn't exist that way.
No, I agree completely with that. First off, I'm just saying through the eyes of like the normies who still see it as something that's potentially could happen. It's there, but I agree. Just like, one of the other conversations came in, the whole Israel conversations like real hot and heated. And, there's a part of that argument that's like, well, we just need to completely stop funding it and remove. And it's like, listen, regardless of how you stand on it, we can't. Israel's so tied into our infrastructure here when it comes to the military, to our law enforcement, to our infrastructure. Like a lot of the Jews. I don't say the Jews, man. You just did. No, there's a difference.
Is that Alpha?
This is where I get people frustrated because a lot of people do. And I think this, when you choose to use the word Jews, it just becomes divisive. And now you're playing on emotions versus logic. The Jews, son of a bitch.
I didn't say it. That was Biden, man.
You're setting me up for failure, man.
Hey,
there's a difference between people and governments. And I think that once people start to recognize that, it'll be better for us globally. But we can't afford to let Israel just fall in that regime either, because there would be an absolute national security issue for our country. So however it needs to happen and unfold, because, I'm against our government having puppet strings on it. It needs to be done in a very tactical, way.
That's an interesting point. And I certainly, I don't want to say anything like too stupid here because I don't follow the Middle East or Israel stuff as much as Ghost. Like, I don't know as much about what's going on over there. I don't talk about it enough on Twitter. I've been told that many times, like, why aren't you talking about this thing? I'm never going to talk about what you want me to talk about. If you tell me I have to talk about something, I will deliberately not talk about it. So that's just for those on Twitter who are mad at me for not talking about Israel. But this is what I'll say. If there was ever like a time for a president to go in there or anywhere and fuck shit up without ramifications, Trump doesn't care about what the media thinks anymore. Trump doesn't care about the establishment. He doesn't owe anybody anything, and he's not going for another term. Like, he has every reason to take anything off. He can set the game board going into 2028 however he sees fit, because he's not beholden to anybody. And so if there ever was a time to clean stuff out, or like the people on Q, Israel for last or whatever, I mean, this is the time to do whatever needs to be done to figure this problem out and have it be a lasting solution, whatever the solution is. I have no idea, but
it can't be done through conflict, because if it's done through conflict, they're going to get their way every single time.
I don't think it's going to be. It's not his way.
Now, the only way to deal with this issue is the exact way that it became an issue for us, and it's through infiltration.
I don't know.
It's doing it backwards. And if you look at the Israeli this Israeli popular vote, they're more aligned with Trump than they are with Bibi. And so if you were trying to make some infiltration moves or you were trying to do a regime change, that's the kind of support you would want in the country that you're going to do it in. And I think it's going to look more something like that.
I think, I think Saudi Arabia is going to take a big lead with stuff over there for sure. Like, I think Trump's going to embolden them to take the lead on that stuff. I just want, like, the dual citizenship stuff needs to end with our government. Like, that cannot be a thing at all. We need to figure out a way to get that on the radar of everybody. I'm sure it is, but like AIPAC endorsing 312 candidates over the primaries and the presidential elections here, and them winning every single one of them is absolutely insane. Like, why is that happening? It shouldn't be happening. There should be no dual citizenship. That has to be cut immediately.
I agree. 100%.
I agree with that as well. And I think Trump's on all that. I think the groundwork was laid in the first term, and he's been hard at work this last term, and he's going to hit the ground running this term, and he's going to accomplish a lot. I know you were talking, Alpha, about the fear that the left is feeling right now. And my simple solution, I was saying earlier in the show, we were talking about a patient of mine that was freaking out that he's going to start World War III. And I said, well, he didn't get us into any conflicts in his first term. So we have like a track history now. We have 4 years with him. He was an unknown commodity when he came in 2016, but now we know. So like that should set your mind a little bit at ease. But I think also too, the fact that he doesn't have to run again, and they think he's going to go absolutely scorched earth on everyone, which he is to some extent, but just not in a military way in foreign conflicts. He's going to do it to the people that have infiltrated our country, the enemy within, and that's going to be fun for us to watch. And I think it's going to open some eyes too when people actually are exposed to what these people have actually done. We were talking about the legacy media and just what little credibility they have left. I'm sure you all saw that clip of the one guy on CNN that had half a brain that said, look, you want to know why this happened? Look at us. For 3 weeks, we've been saying, that, he just lost the Puerto Rican vote because of some comedian on, his rally and all. And then he said, look, he won the Puerto Rican vote by like 90 something, points. It was crazy, and he's like, we're telling people this is happening and we're backing it up with our fake polls. And he said, we need to look at what we're saying. And that's kind of what Bezos said a couple of weeks ago when he refused to endorse a candidate with the Washington Post. It's like, what matters is the people's perception of the media. So even if they think they're telling the truth and doing their job as journalists, they're not. And people don't believe them anymore. And so at best, they just have no credibility left.
Did you see the media one? I think it was this morning. Yeah, I'm almost where the guy said it's because of the Mexicans and the blacks. I was like, holy shit. Like,
yeah, just flat out said it. Yeah.
Can you find that?
Well, there was, what's her name? Joy Reid saying that, Mexican men or Latino men basically voted for their abuelas being deported and their families being broken up, and it's your fault and you deserve it. Like she said, you deserve that. You deserve your abuela being sent back because you voted for Trump.
There's actually a really funny video. Let me play this. I don't know if you guys saw this. I won't play the whole thing because it gets a little repetitive, but this is hilarious.
Donald Trump won, and I am very, very afraid that he might deport my mother-in-law. She entered illegally to the country, and she lives in Street 4, number 47, apartment D, New York. I am very, very concerned. That's right behind the green apartment. Yeah. I have nothing bad happened to her. The gate is always open. Street 4. Number 47, apartment D.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm trying to see if I can find it, man. But
what was it? You said Puerto Ricans?
No, he said it was because of Mexicans and blacks, and it was a black guy that was doing commentary to it, and he's just like, man, what the black and white race war didn't work, so now you want to turn into a Mexican and black thing? Like, I mean, he saw right through the bullshit, which was cool.
That's good. That's good.
And most people do. Most people are just like, yeah, this is retarded. We're not falling for this shit. But
by the way, I'm guessing The View had their best ratings ever on Wednesday. I mean, I actually will admit I set my DVR for the very first time to record The View. I don't think I've ever watched that show in my life. And I was like, oh, I got to see what these crowing hens have to say. It was great.
Is this could it be this maybe?
No, it's not that one.
Okay, well that's not working anyway. Let me keep trying.
I mean, it was. I'm trying to. There's. It's so hard right now. Timelines get flooded fast.
I know.
Bernie Bright just said Mexicans are white black people. Alpha.
Okay, if Bernie Bright's in the chat, why is he not on the show?
Wait,
he had the opportunity.
I gotta make that make sense. Mexicans are white
are just white blacks.
White black people.
That was the most racist thing anybody's ever said. He's just
sure.
Okay. That guy.
You know,
He won the
there's a
national
little logic
popular
to
vote,
that.
for the first time since
What?
Oh, this is the guy that's like the voice of reason here, right?
As racist as that was, BB, it makes a little sense. Like, I can see where he's going with that.
Republican for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just a regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids. And they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives.
Is this even the right video?
Yes, this is a good video, though. This is the one I was talking
but-
about, where this guy is
Okay.
just schooling these people. And look at all four of them look like they wish they had a mute button and they could just turn them off.
I'm honestly surprised like CNN brings on the voice of reason anymore, but they do. It's kind of funny to watch. 'Cause they do it. The clip goes viral in our circles, but I wonder if how long that that might be the only segment of the entire day that person's on for.
Oh,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
sure, exactly. It's like, 2 minutes out of a whole day's programming, but this
But
is,
here,
it's really good.
I'll finish it.
I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line. And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
but it's not that they have to learn to do that. It's they get paid not to. Like there's a difference here. But another thing, a topic I want to talk about, unless you guys want to stick on this for a little longer, is I kind of hinted at this earlier, but I want to give a good example of it. So, Alpha, I said earlier, it's pretty interesting to see all of the same conning people who abandoned Trump. Like, so they were anti-Trump going into 2016 until he got the nomination. Then they were all for him, right? And they rode his coattails to prominence up until 2020. Election happened. Mum on election fraud. Keep all their accounts on Twitter. Keep all their YouTubes, all that stuff. Get huge platforms. Don't ever say a word about election fraud, all this stuff. 2022, 2023, they jump on the DeSantis bandwagon, push him aggressively, doesn't work. Come back to Trump. They're all Trump now. They're celebrating Trump's. It's like they carried Trump over the finish line. They're big circle jerks on Twitter. Charlie Kirk's head. Oh my gosh, let me read this. Charlie Kirk shoved his head so far up Matt Walsh's asshole, which is a testament to Matt Walsh's asshole at this point because of how big Charlie Kirk's head is. And it's just like the most disgusting shit I've seen. Like Matt Walsh deserves so much credit for getting Trump this victory. But anyway, all these same people are like, now Trump can't have this person as administration. Trump can't have this person as administration. Like trying to, sway public opinion and perception about who Trump can and can't have in his administration. I think it's subversive. I think these people are not on our side, even though they pretend to be, because there's a body of evidence that shows that they are anti-Trump when it matters most. And so like Mike Pompeo is a good example. I personally don't know if Mike Pompeo is good or bad. These people, everybody out there is trying to paint him as bad. I personally think he's on the right side of things. I could be convinced otherwise, though. I've seen some stuff too. I've seen it. But at this point in the second administration, like I said before, Trump's not beholden to anybody. He doesn't need to appease anybody. He's not going to appease anybody. Are we going to just all of a sudden believe that Trump is stupid now and like is going to pick people that shouldn't be in there? Or are we going to like trust that Trump knows what he's doing and has surrounded himself with people that knows what they're doing? And so when he picks a guy like Mike Pompeo, who everybody for whatever reason hates, which is fine, you can have that opinion, but like that they might know more about what they're doing than we do, right?
So I completely agree with that. I mean, regardless of what opinions we voice, like the board's already been mapped out.
Yeah.
So it's not going to change. Trump's team's not going to come up and be like, "Oh shit, I just saw this post on Mike Pompeo, boys. Like, hold on, let's brief." Like, no,
let's switch gears. Somebody just reminded me we got this great dude.
Nobody on social media or podcast is going to drop intel that these guys already don't know about, whether they pretend to know about it or they don't. Like that, all that operational stuff's mapped out. Now, with that, I do think that there is we have a role. The fakes, like the ones that you all named. Whoa, hold on. My camera tripped on me. It's on that follow my hand type thing. So I got to go fix it. And boom. And we're back. So like you're talking about like the Charlie Kirks, all of those guys, they have a role. And one, they're completely disloyal. The history proves that, right? But they're still going to create conversations that are going to generate conversations that need to also kind of wake people up. And that's kind of, I think, where our role comes in to say, these guys are disloyal and full of shit, and this is why. But since we're having this conversation, here are some other ways to kind of look at this. Now, all that said, I can understand people's concerns about Pompeo. I've only heard one thing firsthand that did kind of make me say, that's interesting. And it's actually from one of Pompeo's family members that told me, dude, he bashes him in front of the family. But then again, it could be part of his role.
When did you talk to Mike Pompeo's family?
This was less than 2 months ago.
What, like where? Like who is it?
I will tell you off the air, but I won't tell you on the air, but I'll tell you off the air. Only because I don't know if they would be okay with it or not, because it was told to me in a private conversation. So, I got to respect that too. But I don't mind telling you off the air.
Okay.
So.
Well, these are the same people that were pushing the narrative that Trump was just very stupid and naive in his first term, and he put a bunch of bad people around him because he was listening to the wrong people and all that stuff. And
he's never been naive. He's never been stupid.
No, I think all of that was very intentional. It's very hard to convince some of my normie friends that they really do believe that. But they also think that he's probably got a better feel for it now, and he's going to put the right people around him now. And honestly, Trump kind of played into that on the Rogan podcast. So I think that works to Trump's advantage. I think, underestimate him, think he's stupid, all that stuff. He loves that. But I don't think there was ever a question about the first term that he was just so naive. He was putting all these bad people around him. I don't think that was it at all. I just think that everything was setting things up for right now. This is the term. Everything was just groundwork, and now is where the real work gets done. He gave us a taste of what things could be like, and let the enemy expend all their ammunition, and now he can go scorched earth, and he's going to have all the right people around him. And whether that includes Pompeo or not, I trust Trump implicitly. He's going to make the right call every time. If it's one of his enemies, it's because he wants him close.
If you look at the tempo that he's taking right now, because he's not even president yet, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the tempo he's taking, like look at how fast RFK is working on things. Look at these guys, like they're coming in fast. And I think what we see from them in those first like 90 to 100 days is gonna kind of dictate the tempo that this administration is going to take all the way through, because there's so many things he's got to address. Like 4 years is not that long. I mean, it sucks when we're going through what we went through, but when it's on our side, like 4 years is not that long. And they have to set up for, well, one, they got to set up for midterms in 2027. So you got to have that set up, right? You have to start looking at what 2028 is going to look like. You know, I see executive orders are important, but that's not the way we fix our country for the long haul. So you got to have a Congress that's on your side so you can do the things that last the long haul. If you just, I mean, especially now, you know, we're 8 years, you know, beyond the first day that he was ever or approaching 8 years, you know, since the first day he was ever a president. These things didn't happen by like happen chance. You know, every choice and decision they made had a field of fire. And within that range, there's all these things that could have happened. And they had counter moves for that stuff. And if everybody just zooms back and you look at everything, man, there's no way that any of these things are just happen chance. Even us going into the 2020, you know, for election, you know, as much as we hated it, if you subscribe to some of the boards and stuff like that, like the directions were on there. And if you look at the timeline, 2025 is supposed to be the last year of it. So I don't know.
Yeah, some interesting stuff. I see some people in our audience don't like how, you know, they think we're bashing other people like Charlie Kirk. And I don't know Charlie Kirk personally. I can only judge people by the stuff they've done. And you can, if you look for it, if you've been paying attention, you can spot subversive elements with some of the stuff. Check this video out. This was just on election night.
Okay, welcome back. We were just on Charlie Kirk's coverage. We're going to get ready. Megyn Kelly's going to join us here in a minute. Actually, I felt the need to talk about the 2020 election, how it's stolen. So, Charlie Kirk.
You missed that YouTube window, Steve.
Hold on. Charlie Kirk, what are you talking about, Charlie? We're permanently banned on YouTube. We're permanently banned on Spotify. We were permanently banned on...
The number one spreader of misinformation.
Number one spreader of misinformation 2 years in a row.
Wow.
Who wins that and then gets the crown again? And you're sitting there telling me, don't say anything about... I felt like I was on the Tim Pool show. They kind of brief you when you go into Tim Pool. You can't say anything about...
Tim Pool, Charlie Kirk, both don't allow people to talk about election fraud. Like they're liars. That makes you a liar. If you are going to sit in front of an audience and not tell them the truth for money, whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can't justify it to me that you're just trying to reach a certain audience, and then you'll tell them about it on a different platform. No, you're lying. That's what you're doing.
Well, to
I'm
me,
glad Steve Bannon called him out.
It's worse than lying, though. And you know, when the audience says, "Well, I don't like that you're not calling them out." Well, here's the truth. They chose a monetary paycheck over you knowing the truth. So they value money more than you knowing what you need to know to have a fair chance in the fight. Imagine if guys like, and I'll say it, and I'll just speak for myself, guys like Charlie Kirk, Tim Pool, Tucker Carlson,
Matt Walsh,
you know,
Ben Shapiro,
Matt Walsh, you know, Steven Crowder.
Mike
Imagine if
Cernovich.
these guys would have been talking about the bioweapon, you know, vaccine the way we were when we were doing it. How many more lives would have been changed? How many more lives would have been saved? How many more kids wouldn't have been subjected to that?
Chris Paul always says, and this is right in line with what you're thinking. Sorry for interrupting, but he says if we would have had the top 50 conservative podcasters all screaming about election fraud when it happened, Trump never would have lost that election. Like it would have been resolved, but none of them would do it. Not a single one of them. Sorry, continue.
No, I mean, essentially, that's the argument. So it's one of those things where just because you like what someone says all the time doesn't mean they're good. You know, it doesn't. You know, and like I said, we got to exploit it when we can. You know what I mean? But, you know, the truth is the truth.
Exactly
Speaking of that, here's I was going to ask you this earlier and I forgot, but this kind of reminded me. What's your guys' take? So, because I have my opinion. I've been in a lot of spaces where there's a lot of conservatives that are saying, we got to extend an olive branch to the other side, and we can't be rubbing this in their face, and we got to bring everybody together, moving forward. I'm kind of curious to your guys' take on this before I share my.
You want to go, John?
And so, can you clarify like one more time? Are you saying with like unite with people from the left?
Yeah, like liberals, the people that were anti-Trumpers.
So there's a couple camps here we got to keep in mind. There are honest liberals who, whether out of laziness or just sheer brainwashing or whatever, that I can have sympathy for not ever finding the truth. Maybe they were lazy, didn't look for it themselves. The truth has always been there, guys. The truth about everything we talk about has always been there. It's just a matter of finding it or finding the sources who actually speak it. Some of those people never looked for it. Okay. But then there's another camp of people who were totally dishonest about everything knowingly for years. And then there's like elements within our movement that I think are like the ones who are dishonest all the time and the ones who are dishonest only like when it's very significant for them to be dishonest for money reasons, whatever the reason is. Those two I put in the same camp. But the ones that are honestly like didn't know any better, I can unite with those people. I can have sympathy for those people. I think all of us have been that at some point in time, like not having gotten awakened or whatever. I can have sympathy for that, but I can't have sympathy for liars. Like I can't have sympathy for those who knowingly subvert, whether it's they're on the left and paint themselves to be leftists and try to subvert stuff, or if they're on our side and then just selectively subvert stuff. There's no uniting or sympathy with that.
Yeah, my take, Alpha. I mean, it is a little bit nuanced too, like John's, and then that there are some people that are just honestly just clueless and they don't know anything about anything, and they just believe whatever the person on TV tells them. And I have no animosity towards them. But then I think back to the COVID years, and I think about what those people tried to do to some of us, and getting us canceled, getting us banned from participating in society, having us, forcing us to take an experimental gene therapy, that kind of thing. It still doesn't sit well for me. I feel like there needs to be some kind of retribution, some kind of, conciliatory acknowledgement from their side. Until that happens, I don't know, man. It's hard not to want to spike the football right now, but like I'm trying my best, man. I'm saying I get all these patients that come in and this week and I'm trying to take the high road, but I got to get my little digs in, and I do it in a little smart ass way. And I don't know if they even pick up on it, but like I had a lady the other day that just like flipping out about the abortion thing and how they're going to lose their rights to kill babies and stuff. And I said, well, just thank God you live in California. I said, you got a governor that's obsessed with killing babies. So you're going to be fine. And she just looked at me like I was an alien, I'm sure she knows where I stand now on it, but like she actually tried to lecture me how I could vote for anyone but the person that's standing up for women's rights to kill babies. And I said, I'm a 56-year-old male who doesn't even have kids. I go, that just isn't my top issue. I'm sorry. Even if I was for that, that's not what I'm voting on. Are you kidding me? Like, you think everybody's voting on that issue? And that's one of the lies too, that the media told these people on the left, was that the women were all going to come out because every one of them, wants to kill babies. And that's not true. There's a lot more people that have a respect for life. And, so I don't know, it's a tough question. Now, if I grapple with that every day, because I have to deal with the public every day, and I really, really want to, rub it in, but I just do it in my own little quiet mocking way with that kind of makes me giggle inside, that's good enough.
I mean, from a client base, I get it. I mean, you got to be, it's
a business decision, really. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a business decision. So I get what you're tracking. And I'm kind of along the camp what you guys talking about. Like, there are these different groups. Like we know who were the Democrats or liberals that were anti-Trump, but were respectful for us during the process of that. And I can be respectful with those people. Yeah. But we also had the ones that were like, if you don't want to jab your kids, they should be taken from you and you should go to jail. And you guys should be put in, re-education camps and all this. To those people, I'm like, fuck them.
Yeah. I hope you're just absolutely miserable to the point where you're gonna have like the
'Cause
worst 4 years of your life because
I think there needs to be a social consequence.
yes, there
Because
does.
if we just extend an olive branch, where's the learning from that? And the other thing too, it's not like these people have just said, "Oh, you guys lost." They're still plotting how to take Trump, how to make sure he doesn't become president before.
I know.
inauguration. Like,
Hey, it's the first thing Gavin Newsom did, right? He's got his Trump proof, crew meeting and how he's going to save California from the horrors of Trump.
I told a couple friends earlier, they're like, "No, man, it's got to be about unity." I said, "You know what? Okay, then do this. Go and tell them, hey, so we willing to acknowledge 2020 was stolen, and then you tell me if you still want unity, because they're going to tell you to go fuck yourself that it was never stolen."
Well, who are we talking about here, though? Like, who are we uniting with? Because there's people on social media that are talking shit still and all that stuff. Like, again, it's the people that are deliberately engaging in the bullshit. I don't care. Like, and I'm not going to go out of my way to unite with anybody. But I'm saying, like, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to people that were honestly misled, and I don't think any of us should. But if there's like people of that actively talk shit, like you could do a bunch of liberal spaces. Like I wouldn't unite with any of those. There's even people in our movement that I don't unite with because of the bullshit they pulled on us. You know what I mean? So like, I get it.
Yeah.
Apologies first, and then maybe we'll talk.
Like, did you guys see the clip of that lady? I forget what her name is, Dr. Arlene. And Dr. Arlene Unsubscribed or something like that is her name. She goes by X, and she's like the political election expert. And she told a story about how she was buying champagne for her celebration. And a guy came up to her and said, "Oh, what are you buying that for?" And she said, "Oh, I'm going to be celebrating our first female president." And he just kind of smiled a little and said, "Oh, are you sure? It's kind of close." And she just mocked the guy. The guy was being, actually civil and having a conversation with her, and she mocked him. And then, they showed videos of her the next day, and she's, of course, saying misogyny and racism and everything caused this. And people lit her up. I mean, she got so freaking lit up on X. It was a beautiful thing. And that's somebody I don't mind. Like I went on her X, I found her, and I was just like, nice call, dude, because she looks like a dude. And then I said, I guess half of America doesn't want to kill babies. That's apparently the only issue you said people were going to vote on.
So interesting. And I saw this on social media. I didn't vet it, so I don't know if it's true. It was just something I glanced at. I chuckled. I actually bookmarked it because I was like, this is a great conversation from White Chromes. But somebody posted a map of the way the Electoral College would have looked had it only been female voters.
Oh,
and
really?
It was scary.
It was mostly blue.
It was mostly
blue. And I was like, oh, jeez.
Well, maybe there was something to that.
I was like, oh my gosh.
But you know what that means? If it was all men voting, it would be
all red.
Mostly red. And technically, the original Constitution did not grant women the right to vote. So, BB is a real strong proponent of that, by the way. He brings it up all the time. Just ask Ash. I wonder if I can sort that.
I'm sure Mrs. Bright loves that when he brings that up.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mrs. Bright beats the shit out of Burning Bright on the daily.
Be understandable for sure.
Go make your own damn mojito.
Yeah, right.
What are you talking about?
I wonder if we can. Do you guys know if we can like sort that data on like Decision Desk or how that works?
I would think gender something that popular. It's popular.
What analysis maybe
should be a filter.
You would think.
Ash was saying, I think this morning that like New York Times has like the best graphics for the election. She said like most people are using AP and it kind of sucks. So I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know how to do any of that shit. But
Patriot, how do you feel about that marriage anarchy thing that passed in California? People don't read, man.
What marriage anarchy thing?
Tell them about it, Alpha.
So there's this, I think it was 32 or 33. It was one of those propositions.
Yeah.
But essentially the scariest part, I'll go straight to the scariest part of it is if a minor now wants to get married with someone who's not, it's respected by California law now.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And as the law reads, technically, if somebody wants to go marry a freaking animal, you can marry an animal. And here's the other thing. Well, this one's probably not so bad. If this was a standalone one, maybe I would have voted on. But in California, technically, you can go get married a couple of times, and you're not breaking any laws anymore.
What?
There's a term for that too. Like if you have one
polygamy,
yeah. This is
the insidious thing about the way they write these propositions in California is they make them sound, it's very convoluted. Like you have to really, really read between the lines to know what you're actually voting for, which very few people do. So they're able to like get this stuff passed. And I vote and then I go, God, I don't even want to see the results because I know everything I voted for is going to be shot down and everything I voted against, these idiots are going to vote for. I mean, if it's something that raises taxes, it's guaranteed to pass. Like we're at the maximum sales tax, like 10.25%. That's like federally capped, and it's just maxed out, everywhere. So, it's just how they do it, and they know they're preying on the fact that people are too stupid or too lazy to read the actual bill. And they give it this glowing sort of title and what it's going to do, and then get all these people to endorse it, and it's bad. So that one passed though, Alpha.
It did. Well, it was leading by, it was like 72% reporting, and it had a significant lead. So
yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, some of the stuff like our state legislatures have passed, like you can have sex with like a 12-year-old and it's just like a misdemeanor. Like, I mean, it's crazy. That's all they do in Sacramento is pass these bills that make pedophilia like not a crime anymore.
Yeah.
And people don't even know.
I think I saw something about, I think it was in Iran or I think it was, they lowered the age of women consenting to marry to like 9 years old or something.
Really?
And I could not. I was like, I can't even imagine like trusting my kid alone in a room with a permanent marker at 9 years old. Like I don't like how.
Yeah.
Like what? 9 years old.
Insane.
Yeah, right here. This was
and that's where they have arranged marriages and all that still, right? So like
Iraq to lower the age of consent for girls to 9. A new law proposed by ultra-conservative Shia Muslim parties seeks to strip women and girls of their rights.
What's basically because they're marrying them off at that age.
Prop 3 was the proposition that
Prop 3.
Share your screen.
Oh, it's on my phone. As a matter of fact, here, let me look it up on here though.
Share your phone.
I don't know how to do that one just yet.
Man, I don't know where. If Ash is in the chat, she should text me like the best place to check out election data.
Like I said, I know she was using New York Times this morning on the daily, or was it yesterday?
She must subscribe, and if that's true,
oh, you got to subscribe. Yeah,
disappointing. AP has some stuff, but like.
By the way, while you guys are looking that stuff up, I'm going to switch gears a tiny bit, but like, how freaking extinct are rhinos now? I mean, Bush and Cheney. The Cheneys went all out, like endorsing Kamala as Republicans, supposedly, and just got destroyed once again. I mean, they talk about completely somebody more irrelevant than the legacy media. I would say the rhinos.
I mean, realistically, if you look to 2028, which will be the next election, I mean, if Trump has the presidency, we think he's going to have the Midas touch, right? Like whoever he endorses at that point is going to be the guy or girl. But there are no legacy names realistically left to run except maybe Michelle Obama. She could be like not too old to run, but like Hillary won't run by then. Are there any Bushes left to run? No. Maybe Jeb, but
no. I mean, they're just done. Like the rhinos are absolutely done. And I think that's one of the greatest part of Trump's swamp draining was to drain the swamp within the Republican Party. It's just as important, if not more, than draining the Democratic swamp as well.
You know, Vance is the first Marine to ever be a vice president.
Really?
Is that true?
Yeah. It's pretty dope.
Has there ever been a Marine to be president? No, so he's the highest ranking. Wow, that's
I have
great,
the
man.
prop 3 if you want to bring it up on the screen, John. So this is it right here. Constitutional right to marriage, legislative constitutional amendment. The con argument here, Proposition 3 removes all rules for marriage, opening the door to child marriages, incest, polygamy. And it changes California's constitution, even though same-sex marriage is already legal, by making moms and dads optional. It puts children at risk. This careless measure harms family and society. Vote no on Proposition 3. That's the con argument. The pro argument was Proposition 3 protects California's freedom to marry regardless of their race or gender. Proposition 3 removes discriminatory language from the California Constitution, stating marriage is only between a man and a woman. Proposition 3 reinforces California's commitment to civil rights and protects personal freedoms. Vote yes.
Wow.
And it passed, or it's passing.
That's disgusting.
Real.
Well, because it changes a lot of things, because you can get pedophiles that can circumvent this. And I mean, you're talking about kids. You can manipulate a child's mind. And this opens the door for stuff like that, where before the law there would have been a consequence for it. Yeah.
I mean, I keep hanging on to that Q post that says, that California, it's watch California. And somebody, I think, asked Q about if election fraud in California was going to ever be addressed. And Q definitively said yes. So that's the only chance we have, because if not for election fraud, we wouldn't have laws like this being passed. I mean, this is being passed by the people, but I mean, state legislature has been passing all kinds of stuff, just slowly whittling away the protections of children and allowing these pedophiles to prey on them with very little consequence. And we got to get these people out, but we can't if there's a fraudulent election system. So
California's the worst. Like
it really is. We used to, I mean, it was 20 years ago, we had a Republican governor. I mean, it wasn't until they brought in the voting machines that all of a sudden, it's just impossible for any Republican to win anywhere here.
But people
think about it, it's the most electoral votes. Like that's why.
51, I think.
It's a shoo-in.
And I know people are pissed with Cali, and they're always like, "Oh, let's just let Cali fall into." If as bad as California is right now, if you look at its GDP, it's still a giving state. I know it sounds crazy, but it's still considered a giving state as far as what it's taking in versus putting out. Yeah,
are you sure about that?
100%. 100%.
I need the sauce on that.
The last time I checked this was it hasn't even been a year, and we were still considered a giving state.
Does that go along with the lines of how they say like California would have the eighth biggest economy in the world if it was a country?
It used to, but I think we dropped a little.
Yeah, but we're still
on that. We're
still on the
there.
plus side though. Yeah.
And so that's why California is so important, because could you imagine California under a good conservative government? Imagine what it would be doing for not just California's GDP, but for the national GDP. I mean, that would be insane. But let me look that up for you, John.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Because
I know it's been. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
I'm saying I'm pretty sure they're operating on a deficit.
Like we're trillions in debt. I mean, we're literally like $3 trillion in debt. But
like, how is that even possible when you have
people are saying 10th largest economy?
Yeah, big economy. But it's run so poorly.
It's run extremely poorly, and it has been a long time. I mean, Governor Brown, when he was governor the first time, I mean, it's been a long time coming, but like elections, I mean, California voted for Reagan, like it was more imbalanced, there was a chance a Republican could win here. Now they've rigged it to where it's impossible. Like you had no chance. Steve Garvey had no chance against Adam Schiff, who has no business being a senator. And I hope he, of all people, I mean, he's in my top 5 people I'd like to see in an orange jumpsuit. So, we'll see what happens, but I do kind of hang my hopes on that Q post that something's going to be done, and California's on the agenda for fixing.
I mean, I think we can just stop the conversation with they have a butthole memorial.
Hey, that's Alphastown, man. That's Alphastown. He lives right there.
That's my neck of the woods right there, man.
Oh my gosh, that's you.
No, that's not me. That's the city next to me.
You
Yeah.
support
Where it
this?
is. Should I go there and take a picture? Like do something funny?
No, it's
Dude,
okay.
I was just there a couple weeks ago, and my friend's like, let's go look for the butthole, and we looked for it where it's supposed to be, and I don't think it's up. I think this was just like a proposal, and I think the people kind of didn't care for it for obvious
I
reasons.
wonder why. Yeah.
I mean, especially that one on the right with the little like puckering, it's like, oh my
That does look like
God.
a cornhole.
It's a
I
butthole
mean,
for sure.
what? It's the AIDS memorial on top of it. My
I know.
God.
Like, just think about somebody went to some California school, paid like $300,000 over 6 years to get educated, to become like this famous artist, and they came like, we need you to design something just to memorialize the AIDS community, the people afflicted with AIDS.
And you know how much they
And
probably
this is what
paid
they
for
came
that
up with.
sculpture, though?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure millions.
Oh, 100%.
And
There's
he's just
in
like,
our-
let me show you a butthole quick. And
come into Cathedral City. That's the city that I live in. They have these. They look like arrowheads, right? But they're supposed to be like these cathedral tips, right? And they're like these steel things. It's probably maybe $2,000-$3,000 worth of steel. And these things were, I want to say, like $250,000.
Oh, God.
what?
And I'm just like, but
Wait.
it's the beautification of the city. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you've
I-
seen
when
all
we saw it, we're like,
That's why they're at $1 trillion deficit or
we're
whatever.
like,
in
you're putting that in
California.
a center median. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be a car that's going to flip. It's going to hit that thing. It's going to impale people. That's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's a death trap. Oh yeah. Every
You're
time I'm
absolutely right.
driving and I see things, man, I'm just like, why would you? Who designed that? Like,
Yeah.
you're going to kill somebody with that thing.
Yeah. There's no thought into it, but
It's
man,
insane. It's
So
insane. I
I'm
want
trying
to
to
see if you find these numbers.
What
And
I
it's-
have found is, as of 2023, California was 15% of the national GDP. But I'm looking for the one specifically because they ranked all the states, actually, and that's the one that
Yeah.
I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'd be curious. This is fitting. Earlier today, I was going through the Twitter and I came across some liberals post about like the media needs to change. Like, why aren't they talking about all the good things the Biden administration is doing? And they were like coming out with it. I wish I could find the tweet now because I was researching on it earlier. But they were like, our unemployment rate is at the lowest it's been in since 1958, and our GDP growth is the highest in the world, and our federal deficit is declining, and like and I was like fact checking each one of these things that they say, and this post has like millions of views, and every single bullet point that this lady listed was just
Bullshit.
totally made up.
Yeah.
Like totally made up. Every single one. Inflation is not at the lowest it's ever been. GDP growth, we're not even the top 20 for growth annually. And I mean, statistics only on 2023. Like every single bullet point was a lie, and people in the comments are just going nuts over like, "Oh yeah, I can't believe it." Blah blah. Why would anybody vote Trump? They fall hook, line, and sinker for this shit. But yeah, I'm curious what you find, Alpha.
As of 2024, and this is from Wiki.
Share your screen.
State of California is the economy of the state of California is the largest in the United States, with a 4.08 trillion gross state product GSP as of 2024.
GSP?
GSP. Gross state product.
I know as much as some of you people that don't live in California would like to wall us off or just shove us into the ocean.
Yep.
You kind of need us. We
Well,
produce
that's
a
what
lot
they
here.
want. They want to sink California because of the impact that it would have on the national GDP.
Yeah.
Listen, as for all, and trust me, I live in Cali with Jay, and for as jacked up as it is and jacked up as New York is, if those two states fail, the United States fails.
Yeah, that's why New York and California were specifically mentioned in the drops as targets for being fixed. I think
look at
it's
how much of
too
the
important. We're too important to ignore.
Okay, but also think of the trade-off here. Think of what this would do to the number of butthole statues in our country.
They would,
and is it
dude,
worth it?
That would be our major export. We would be sending them all over the world. Buttholes around the world.
No, the reality is like I think so many people are just entranced by this idea that somehow the two parties that exist in this country are like somewhat on the same footing, and that's why I'm like almost annoyed by how this how everybody's just like, okay, see everybody, our election system's real. I don't think California's a blue state. I think if you fix election fraud in this country, the number of people that actually vote conservative and believe in the, or not even conservative, like the Make America Great Again movement is so much higher than people realize. So many more states would be red. California might even be red. And so many people are just like, see, can we just accept that the elections weren't stolen now? Like Trump won. That's a fucking problem, guys. They're trying to get us back into just going along to get along system. And we can't let that happen. Cannot happen.
Yeah, and another point I want to make about California, at least anecdotally speaking, I know a lot of people that literally just vote because they want to be voting along with the crowd, and they think that everybody in California votes blue, so they got to vote blue because they want to be on the winning side, or the side that all their friends and people they know are voting for. So it changes everything if you have fair elections, because more people vote red, then it takes away from that group sheep mentality. And right now we're just stuck in it. Like these people here are just, there's a lot of very stupid voters, of very uneducated voters. I mean,
why do you think they stay that way though? Like, is it, I mean, I know there's a lot of like high paying jobs out there, but also like everything is so much more expensive out there too. Like how do people,
it's the weather, dude. It's the weather. I mean, it's a beautiful place. It's not like anywhere else in the
bring
country.
Stupidity with it? Like why do people just like fall in line with the idea that it's a blue state?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that other than it's become so lopsided, Blue. It was much more evenly divided just 20 years ago, and now it's so lopsided. I think there's just a lot of people that are just brainwashed that that's what you do if you live in California, and we vote blue, and they don't think about it. They don't understand the issues. They vote for personalities. They don't care about, maybe it's that whole notion about there's just too much to do in California for people to pay attention, right? Like that's what always been the criticism of our fans of our sports teams, is that people don't go to the games, or they leave early, they come late, they don't really care, they're not really invested in it because there's so much else to do. And so it's a blessing and a curse that there's so much to do, and there's great weather, and there's lots of outdoor activities and stuff like that. But I think it breeds stupidity as well, as far as politics and what's going on in the rest of the world. People get in their little California bubble and they don't look outside of it, and they don't realize how they've been lied to. They just haven't woken up yet. Not enough people here. A lot of people have, but there's still a long ways to go here.
So do you think it actually is a blue state?
No,
I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially, like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is if you throw out the people that just don't even know what the hell they are, they don't know if they're Democrat or not. They just vote like sheep, and the TV guy told me I should be voting for Kamala. That's who I'm going to vote for. Do you really count that as somebody that's passionately Democrat or liberal? No, I think there's a lot of people like that pad their numbers, but I think at its core, the soul of the state is red.
Oh, okay. Well, to my question, so what you said there's people that will vote based on whatever the TV tells them to vote, right? So whether or not they're blue or red doesn't. It just depends on whatever the media's decided they were that year, whatever.
Yeah, the media, the celebrities, whoever they're listening to, they just don't put any thought into it. So,
but do you think
they're not committed to anything?
But do you think if we actually like audited the vote and got down to the real legal votes, that there are more red votes than blue votes, or do you think there's enough of that crowd that actually sways it blue, like legitimately?
Yeah, I think it. Go ahead, Alpha.
When you look at the map of California, it's the way they drew these district lines. But if you look at it, it happens to be like you got Los Angeles, you got Silicon Valley, but the vast majority, if you look on that little color map, especially the last one from like Election Desk or DDHQ, whichever that shows California, it's way more red than it's blue
this year. Then
it's definitely, and that's another really important statistic from this election is Trump actually made gains in 48 of the 50 states, and that's especially in California. I mean, California was much closer than it's ever been, or it has been in a long time, I should say, and so we're making inroads. The problem with that map is it is a little deceptive, though. you look at all that red, but everybody lives in those areas where it's blue, like along the coast, as
Yeah.
you see. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
a little
my
deceiving. That's what I look at is like, I don't want to give too much credit to that map. But
my question, though, is like if we actually audit the votes, because I've heard a lot of people say California's red. We've been there for a GART in Irvine, which was awesome. It's beautiful. A lot of people in that area were great. We had a ton of people show up to that GART. And like, I know the spirit's there. I know there's mega people in California. I have no doubt about that. But if we got down to like the heart of election fraud and cleaned it out in California, do you still think that it would be a blue state, or would it actually be Trump country?
I don't think so. I think you would be red.
Yeah,
I don't think you would. I don't think it'd be like a blowout red, but I think it would. I think it'd be enough red to win an election.
I agree with Alpha, because like I said, we've had Republican governors in recent history. It's not out of the question. It only became impossible for Republicans is when they brought in the voting machines.
I mean, hey, I agree with you guys. I'm just like asking as people who live
it's a
there,
good question.
like what your opinions are, because again, election fraud to me is the number one issue in our country and of our lifetimes because of how many things it affects. Like, honestly, like if you want the country that we've envisioned for these last few years talking about, and like we're going to be talking about at GART, we don't get it unless we fix our election system and figure out a way to honestly have like your vote be counted in the way without being subverted.
I think one of the most important things, and it's something that we can do from like a Badlands level and our different podcasts and shows. I think people need to understand the investment into the local elections.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many people went and voted for judges this election and don't know shit about the judges.
Mm-hmm.
And
they just go down and vote by name or whatever. Oh, that guy sounds good. I know people that do that. I know conservative people that do that. They don't take the time.
And that's the way you get back control of your schools. There's a lot of power.
I would argue that I've been looking at some of these races, like the down ballot races in some of these states. There's some shady shit going on with these down ballot stuff.
Look at the independents and the Green Party, man.
Dude, Arizona. I had a tweet on that today. I went through all the data on Decision Desk and pulled everything. Check this out. Whoops. The president, the Senate, and the House totals, right? Actually, you know what? I can find this tweet might be better.
Oh, this is the one I saw. Yeah. So your tweet's the one I saw.
Yeah. I mean, look at the disparity in the number of people that voted green. Like people went in and the Green Party, like in today's day and age, it's so divisive that I already like don't believe that more than 0.05% of people will go in and split their ticket. There's no way. With how divisive the media has been, how divisive everything has been, there's very few people and very few scenarios where somebody's going to split their ticket. But then you're going to tell me, especially with like the Green Party, like if you're voting Green Party, like you don't even give a shit about anything. Like you are just going there to vote Green Party and you're not going to vote anything else. So 40,000 people voted Green Party Senate, but not the president of the House. Like that makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
No sense at all.
None. And so there you go. There's your illustration of how they did it. They siphoned at least 40,000 votes from Kari Lake and put them in the Green Party category, right? I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Especially
that's impossible. There's no way.
And then like, there's so many things wrong with this. They're trying to say that Gallego or whatever had more votes than Kamala Harris. That doesn't make sense either.
That makes zero sense.
Yeah, there's just a lot wrong with what's going on in Arizona. More dumps are coming in and she's trending upwards. Like she's even gaining in the betting markets. It's possible she still pulls it out, but I don't know, man. Like
you've been harping on, John, like that still needs to be dealt with. It doesn't matter if she wins or not. It's great if she wins, but I love Kari Lake, want to see her win, of course, but then she needs to be the poster child for election fraud and as a victim, and it needs to be dealt with. Can't keep going on. And I'm sure that's all tops on the agenda for the new Trump administration. I can't imagine it's not.
Yeah, it's just concerning, and that's why like I'm happy about the win we got on Tuesday, but I'm not satisfied yet. Like it's we got a first down, in my opinion. We haven't even scored a touchdown, or we scored our first touchdown. We still have to score like 40 more points before we take the lead and actually win this thing. We have a long ways to go, and there's so many victories we need to get before I'm going to be like celebrating the America First victory. And election fraud is like that ultimate victory for me. And I there's still so many issues with our election system. Look at freaking North Carolina too. Look at this. The president and the House are within 7,000 votes when it comes to like millions of votes. That's what you'd expect to see. But then the governor's race is 600,000 votes difference.
Look at
like 650,000 votes.
Look at your Green Party again, John.
And again, the Green Party. Yep.
48,000
going on here. I know there was like a hit piece out on the governor choice in North Carolina, but still, like, again, partisan politics, Trump endorsement. I don't see 650,000 people going to the polls voting for Trump and not voting for the governor. Doesn't make sense.
Did you guys see the post by the Oversight Project today on the FBI and they're wiping out computers? I put it in the private chat if you haven't seen it.
I'll pull it up.
All right. Let's see.
Or I can pull it up, I guess.
All right, go for it. So this came out, I believe, yesterday.
Oversight Project. We are monitoring FBI attempts to wipe computers. Let me find my glasses. With evidence of their abuses under benign pretexts such as system upgrades. Dear FOIA officer, pursuant to the FOIA Act and FOIA regulations, DOJ, I respectfully request the following from all employees at the FBI. Any communications on the yellow side, green side, or red side related to software, hardware, or file storage updates, upgrades, modifications, or other changes, including deletion. Additionally, all records produced in the process of making such changes, and any communication the yellow side, green side, or red side referencing the terms federal records, FRA, retention, retain, delete, deletion, dispose, disposal, burn, destroy, archive, archivist, and any communications referencing the federal law related to document retention, included but not limited to Title 44 of U.S. Code Chapter 33, Sections 3301, 3314. In response to this request, well, like, what is this? I don't get it.
So the FBI is doing system upgrades or updates, or a little bit of both. And in this process, there's a lot of stuff that's going to get rid of. But in other words, you can't get rid of something because then that's destruction of evidence. But if
is this one of those like hang on, who is this letter from, by the way?
So this comes from the Oversight Project. The Oversight Project, here, I'll click on it so I can read it to you guys real quick. The Everyday Americans Legal Investigative Organization, Battling Corruption and Weaponization, tips.oversightproject@heritage.org. At Heritage is the ones that do it. So
is it one of those letters that basically telling them to like do not destroy evidence, basically?
Well, so you can't stop them from doing the upgrades, but now they have to retain the stuff before they do the upgrade. So that's where it's going to be the catch-all. So now, back when we used to do things, and now hindsight, I'm like, holy shit, were we doing something corrupt? Because you didn't know. You used to have police reports that were in a certain system. And then when we upgraded to another system, which was done every couple of years, because you're like, oh, well, you're advancing technology. But not everything was compatible with the new system. So you lost a lot of records. But it wasn't considered a destruction of record because you were just moving to a new software that wasn't compatible with it. But the thing is it's gone.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing you could do about it. And the only reason we knew about that is because later on, when we'd go to court, they would subpoena parts of the old cases. And so when you went to look for it, well, it wasn't in the new one. So then when you would ask records, it was, oh, that's one of those files that never made it over because it wasn't compatible. So then it's like, well, where's the original one? Like the paper document that was sent. Well, that got rid of it when we went from the old system to this system. So there's no record of that either. So it is a way to eliminate records without destroying evidence. Wow. And so essentially and this part's speculation, somebody inside tipped these guys off that a lot of shit's going to get destroyed in this software upgrade. So y'all better start going. Essentially, this is a preservation letter.
Yeah, right.
You guys better go and have them start making copies of all these things that are tied into these specific verbiages and acronyms. So this way, if it gets just, they can't get rid of it because they have to retain that.
Now, what are the odds that they will actually, obey that letter and not just ignore it and do what they're going to do anyways. That's the thing. It's like, great, you wrote a sternly worded letter, and is that going to actually do anything?
Right. It takes us all the way back to the beginning of the 2020 still, when they're supposed to retain all that stuff.
Yeah, they just.
I'm there.
I mean, even the Supreme Court, right? Sam Alito said in Pennsylvania, like, separate those ballots out that came after the deadline, and they said, yeah, screw you.
I'm already getting hate emails about criticizing Charlie Kirk. It's insane. You guys don't have to watch us. Go watch Charlie Kirk. You don't have to be here. We'll criticize him regardless.
So
everybody has a role. I will just say this about Charlie Kirk, because I've been asked a lot about this too. And I said, look, everybody has a role, and he's trying to wake up young college students. Good for him. Like, that's his thing, and that's his lane. And as long as he stays in that lane, I'm fine with whatever he does. But it's when he gets out there and is stopping people from talking about election fraud on his show, I do have an issue with that. So you can give him credit where credit is due, and then still be critical of some of the things he's doing that aren't helping our cause.
The funniest thing is, this email is like, Charlie Kirk registered 100,000 voters. How many did you register? Like, I'm not trying to register people for a fraudulent fucking system, bro.
That's not the point, right?
Whatever. Sorry. I don't even know.
It's not that, but I'll say this: if Charlie Kirk registered 100,000 voters, yes, that's good.
Great.
But considering his reach, that's terrible. Because you have a guy like Scott Pressler just by himself and his little team went and registered 130,000 first-time voting Amish. And he doesn't have nearly the reach that freaking Charlie Kirk does in the platform he does.
Don't even get me started there. I'm gonna get another hate email. I'll have to talk about Scott Pressler.
Well, no, here's the thing when it comes to Charlie Kirk. Well, because I don't know who said in the audience, and I'm sure it's probably coming from a place of good intentions, but if your spouse or your girlfriend treats you nice and buys you the things you want and says you're good looking and all the things you want to hear, but they're cheating on you, are you in a good relationship? So you got to look at it. When you look at Charlie Kirk, I mean, facts are facts. There was a period of time he was not endorsing Trump. He wasn't.
And he wasn't talking election fraud.
And he wasn't talking election fraud. And then Ron DeSantis came, and he wasn't going full blown like, Ron DeSantis, but it was very obvious if people were actually watching his stuff that he was definitely in support of him.
Yep.
I feel like Charlie Kirk is like one of those guys that's still stuck in the old way of thinking, where it's R's are good, D's are bad. It's kind of like probably how I was during the Bush years, where it didn't I didn't even care if a guy was a rhino or not, as long as he had an R after his name. Great, we won, our team won. It's a very
worse than that, though.
Way of looking at it.
It's worse than that, though, because Bannon called it out, guys. Like, Bannon said, Charlie Kirk told me I can't talk about election fraud. Like, I don't know how we can forgive that behavior.
Here's something that, and this is speculation.
We can move. I do want to get to another story after this.
One more thing. And it's speculation, but it's educated speculation. This is what I'll challenge people to do. Go look at some of the content creators that were brought on to TPUSA and look at their content now. And then go look at their content before they went to TPUSA. And I know because a friend of mine was very hard in exposing elections and COVID and all that stuff. And then they got a contract with TPUSA, making very good money, and they never talked about it again. Now, they've never told me anything. They've never disclosed anything to me, but just my own observation of that tells me you were hardcore about it, and then all of a sudden you never talked about it again.
Taboo subject. Yeah.
What happened?
Money happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I want to. Do you guys see the story of this FEMA? FEMA apparently, in the wake of the hurricane down in Florida, they were like in their chat. They were specifically avoiding homes that had Trump signs in it.
No,
FEMA and humanitarian.
Yeah, they have like text messages from the FEMA officials saying to not. There it is. Not to
avoid
not
homes
to,
advertising
not to help,
Trump.
No shit, I did not know this.
Crazy.
This is what Trump needs to go scorched earth on with his Schedule F where he's going to be able to fire people that are doing this.
This is
This is
beyond
the kind of
incredible. Like,
stuff.
this
It's
is
beyond.
evil.
It's
FEMA's got way more power than people realize.
oh, ton of
So,
power.
so when I was a cop, we have to take these FEMA courses, and you're like, well, that makes sense, you know, emergency management, all this stuff. But we got a specific number. It was called a CID number. Oh, yeah, CID, and it essentially you were told to protect it like your social security number. And this CID number told about your specific region, what you specifically did, what your skill sets were, what certificates you were. But
do you have skill sets?
We used to. They, you know, I forgot them. You know,
Okay.
I still chew
Sure.
crayons and stuff.
Okay.
But the crazy mentality, and I know because I'm like, well, damn, I thought it was okay, is you give up jurisdiction to a federal agency when they don't know nearly what you know, but it's just because you're just told that that's the way the management system works. And now when you see what happened like in North Carolina and, you know, parts of Tennessee and Georgia and all that, you realize, man, it's designed to work that way. Why would you do that? It's
no sense.
But it's when you do these contracts with FEMA, they come in because everybody says, what about the sheriffs? You're signing contracts where you're giving up the jurisdiction.
How much? Okay, look, we're going to flash forward 4 years from now. It's in the waning days of Trump's administration, 2028. How much percentage of our government is left standing after this next Trump term? Like 10%, 5%, 20%, 50%? How much of the current federal government as it stands is in place when he's outgoing?
I think there's still about probably 2/3 of it left. I mean, I wish it was bigger than that, but 4 years is not a long. That's not a long time, man. Like,
No, and there's going to be a lot of red tape in order to like eliminate a lot of these unnecessary agencies. I know Elon's going to go in and be a part of that Department of Government Efficiency and all that. I'm sure he's going to do great work, but there's probably tons of roadblocks that they're going to have to overcome in order to fully eliminate some of this waste. So I'm with you, Alpha. I'd say maybe 1/3 of it'll be gone.
Oh, I disagree. I
You
think
think it'll be more?
I do. I really do.
I
'Cause-
hope you're right. I hope so.
Because here's the thing. I mean, it's like we were saying earlier with his personnel. Trump already knows every single one of these people that he wants to get rid of. He
Yeah.
also knows every single one of these agencies that are totally irrelevant and also like total money laundering schemes, right? Like he knows, they know, they have all this stuff ready to go. And they're just going to publicize the process of it through Elon. I think he said that they're going to do like live streams and they're going to make it all public and they're going to go through and like, what is this agency doing?
So
We're going to get
good.
rid of it. Like, I think we're going to whittle this thing down.
Well,
Because
you know,
how
the
much
thing-
of the government is actually needed? If you don't count the military, how much of our government is actually needed?
Who was
Not
saying that
very
there's like
much,
something
very
like
few.
there's something like 480 something government agencies? Like there's not like a single human that could name them all.
No,
Like
it's
how much
insane.
of that is all? It's ridiculous, man. And
Think back to every time they come out with an omnibus bill and Rand Paul comes out with like the 10 most ridiculous things that we're funding. We're funding gay monkey sex in
Yeah.
Brazil
Yeah.
research. Like no shit, guy. Like that's a legit thing. It's something along those lines. And all that stuff is going to be gone. Every single one of those,
Yeah.
even those agencies. Like I bet we
Well,
can gut this thing down to 20-25%.
I hope so. And I really actually, I'm just trying to be like, keep my, my expectations to a manageable level. I don't want to be super disappointed, but if you think about how quickly he demonstrated in his first term, how quickly things can get done. I mean, remember ISIS was like, oh, they're spreading all over the globe and there's no way to stop them. And within a month, Trump had them just gone. Like they were done. Just using that as an example of just how like lightning quick things can get done when you just set your mind to it. Maybe you're right, John. Maybe he could just go in and that first year just clean house and get rid of all this unnecessary fat. I would love that. I just feel like there's probably a lot of these agencies have roadblocks set up so that can't happen. And I don't
think so though, because every single he's going to have the full House, the full Senate. If things stand and if it turns out to be what we think it's going to be based on what happened Tuesday, he's going to have everything, including the Supreme Court. And so he can go the first year, he can go scorched earth and get rid of like every one of these things, and there's no
Afuera.
there's nothing anybody can do to stop it. They can challenge it in court, but it's a Supreme Court, and he has the authority to do so. Because I'm pretty sure every single one of these agencies are unconstitutional in the first place.
Well, remember
So
he did that executive order about Schedule F right before he left, right? And then Biden quickly undid that, but it was sort of like a shot across the bow, like, hey, this is what's coming for you in 4 years. So
Yep.
it could happen lightning quick.
Yeah, and
'Cause I've
Chevron
got
deference. Chevron deference too.
Chevron deference too. I
That's
forgot
a
about
great
that.
point.
Yeah.
TJ Kibbles, thank you.
All right. So I'm starting to be encouraged. I think you're going to be closer to the truth there, John, than us.
That's all I ever want to
But
hear.
it's not just I don't think the hard part is getting rid of the old system, but you also have to have something correct to be in that place. Like we know it's money. Like for instance, our infrastructure is jacked up, and we have departments that handle that. So obviously that department is full of money laundering and fraud because our roads and our bridges and all that, our railways are to shit. So it's not hard to go through there and audit that and be like, it's done. And this department's compromised. I just see the part that's a little bit more time consuming is establishing the part that's going to replace it, whether it's private, whether it's a hybrid, whether it's local, like that has to take a little bit of time. I mean,
Can
shit,
it just be gone? Does it have to be replaced like most of this stuff? Or can it just be like the Department of Education, for example? Can it just be gone?
Well, like the Department of Education could be gone, but somebody
But
still
then
has, somebody has
transfers
to
to the
have the
local, right?
responsibility. So is it
Yeah.
is it a city? Is it the county? Is it the state?
Yeah.
Like there has to be there has to be an SOP that goes into place for that. Like somebody's got to fix our bridges and our roads and our highways and
But
and all that stuff.
that shouldn't be the federal government. It should be
I
it should be
agree.
your local government. I think we should. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I think we completely get rid of the federal tax. I'm cool with paying state taxes. I'll fix my state roads. I don't want to pay for fucking roads in California. No offense to you two.
I don't blame you. Well, you're clearly not paying for our roads because I'm driving through potholes every freaking day.
Yeah, but because all the money that I've been spending on taxes for your roads are going to Ukraine and their roads.
That's true.
But I think if you can gut all the federal agencies, you increase the tariffs, you bring manufacturing back, you deport all the illegal aliens, build the border, like the switch theory stuff we've been talking about on the DPH for years about the manufacturing and everything, like domestically, like there's a very quick flip of the switch that could technically take place. All this stuff that's already been like building to this moment from before Trump left office, carried out by Biden, it could get real nice real quick under Trump financially in this country. And I haven't forgotten him calling for the $60 trillion in what did he say from reparations from China for
Reparations
COVID,
for
or
COVID,
whoever
yep.
actually
Yep.
put that out. He hasn't talked about that in a while, but
The
Well-
one thing he showed too, especially when it comes to manufacturing, is he wants to bring the manufacturers back to the US. We have the plants here, they're ghost towns, but we have the plants. And he showed how fast you could turn an automotive plant into a plant that was making, what was those breathing machines?
Ventilators. Yeah.
Ventilators.
Yeah.
Boom. He showed how fast you could
Overnight.
make that switch.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't take long to get the manufacturing side in America up and running. And
And
I
that's
think
what
a
I'm
lot of
talking
people
about,
are-
Alpha. There were little hints, in his first term of how quick we can do these things, how quickly. And it could happen lightning fast, especially with the financial stuff. I mean, you talk about bringing manufacturing back. The tariffs do that overnight. I mean, that could bring so much money into this country. My wet dream is that the elimination of that federal income tax, man. That would be great, just to not have to even deal with like doing your taxes every year. God,
I mean, could you
beautiful.
imagine not having like federal income tax? I mean, I think Trump's going to lower it.
Yeah, it's
I
going to
think he
be
said,
done
like,
incrementally.
15%.
It won't be just like over, but
I'm
I wonder if
looking
we'll qualify for that.
I'm looking at a freaking IRS letter that's right here on my laptop.
Yeah, I just ignore those. Just kidding. If you're watching IRS, I read everyone.
I can't. They're we will seize and levy. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, fuck.
I need to call G Money. He needs to give me some more advice.
yeah, the
Look at it,
the
Bitcoin.
elimination of the
Bitcoin.
IRS would be unreal.
Bitcoin?
Get your
over
Bitcoin.
over $75,000 right
It's
now.
at 76,000.
Yeah, it was at 75. That it went up. I was watching it in real time on election night, Alpha. It was just going up and up and up. Like every time I checked it, it was like 73,
76.
74, 75, 76.
76,474 right now.
There's some people that made some serious cash this week, man.
I'm like G Money got me in.
The
Okay,
stock
so
market
do
went crazy too.
you remember back when? Gosh, this would have been 20. I think it was late 2022 or early 2023. Bitcoin was like it had been crashing. It was like at a low, but we were at a weird point where the government was in discussions, and we were like, they're going to keep. Is this finally the time where they're going to not sign the omnibus bill or whatever? Is this it? And then banks were like kind of starting to, we can't let you get your money this weekend or whatever. And I was like panicking. So I got Bitcoin, like I put everything into Bitcoin. G Money talked me into it. It wasn't a lot, but yeah, I haven't moved it since.
Was it like 18,000 or something at that time?
It was like, I think I got it. My average purchase cost was like 20,000 because I did it over the course of like a month. Yeah, and it's gone up a lot. It's nice to see. I hope it gets to like 100 million, like G Money's saying. That would be ideal for me personally.
Me too. Nice
for everybody. That's why you got to get your $10 of Bitcoin, guys. $10. You can get into
$10
Bitcoin.
investment could turn into $1 million.
For people that are like, oh, $10. You know, that's what I do. 25 here, 50 there, 25 here, 50 there. You know, over a period of time, that adds up. And before you know it, you're like, man, this is nice. You know,
I was saying earlier, Alpha, I do like a little weekly. I just have it set to weekly. And because I just don't pay attention to these things. I won't do it if I don't just have it done automatically for me. So I set it up with River. It was so easy. And it's just, and now, like, since I think I did that in March or something like that, I've got like a substantial little stack of Satoshis. I'm like kind of proud of myself.
I'll be honest.
If you guys would have purchased Bitcoin when we first started talking about it, back when we started Badlands, when G Money first started Rug Pull Radio, like you'd be 4x right now, almost.
Yeah.
Like 4x $10 is still 4x your money, whatever it is. But
I'll take it, man.
It's going to keep Xing anyway.
I still have my Trump NFTs that I don't know how to get.
Same here.
Dude, that's part of the reason I'm scared to do. I don't know if you guys have done the Trezor,
I can go to my email
with your Bitcoin.
They're in my email.
They said
I got rugged. I do gotta. I'm gonna go get the shoes I'm wearing to Gart. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So
I gotta show you these.
So
Alpha, though, you still haven't gotten those NFTs.
Well, I have them. I just don't know how to get them. So in the email, I keep telling. So there, so Dustin and Jen, they were ones that helped build the wall. Them, and he keeps telling me, "I'll help you, man. I'll help you." So I just need someone to narrow some time because I got one of those. I know G Money's not a fan of it, but I have one of those nano ledgers.
Okay, yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do with this thing?
What is this? Yeah, that's why I still haven't taken that last step of this, the self, custody thing with the Trezor, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. What is this thing? How does it get on this thing? So I don't know. I'll do it. I'm sure I'll talk to G next week and I'll get motivated. Oh, dude, those are nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very jealous.
That's sick.
Oh, can't wait.
That's sick.
You know what I like about you, John, is you're going to wear those bad boys. They're not going to just sit in a box.
Yeah. Well, I got a pair. The first ones that came out, like I panicked. I didn't get the freaking gold ones, but I got like the gay red ones that make me look like a grandma walking the mall. So I'm never wearing those. So those will be my ones
in
that
the box. Yeah.
No offense to any grandmas that walk malls in the chat. But these ones I'm going to wear only to Garts. It's the only time I'll ever wear them. Can't wait. But also, we've reached a record. This is the most we've ever had watching a Liberty Den tonight. We've got 11,100 watching.
Dude, that's
pretty
awesome.
cool. Plus another.
I've noticed all the numbers have been up since you guys did your election night coverage.
Yeah,
those were crazy numbers.
Dude, you had like 30,000. I mean, God, that was great.
When you look at all the alt media kind of together, dude, that's where everybody was.
Yeah.
I mean,
dude, even my normie friends were like asking me. They were like, these guys that would watch Fox News every election night. They're like, where do I watch? And I go, well, you're not going to watch Fox? They said, no, I don't want to do that again. because they remember when Blockhead called Arizona with 0%. And so, I said, well, go to Badlands here, send them a link. I mean, you had to have a lot of new viewers to have 30,000 there. That was,
I hope so. Yeah, we
was it
started out.
consistent?
I think it was like 25,000 for the first couple hours, and then we averaged about 32,000 through the night. We had 14 or 15,000 with us at 4 a.m. when we finally shut the stream down. 4 a.m. Central, which was nuts. And I think we almost got close to 750,000 or something total views. It was pretty wild.
I can't wait till they got to add Trump's face to that. They got to add Trump's face to that mountain, man.
They better start soon because I want him to be like alive when it's done. And it's not an easy process. From what I've heard.
as they're still doing the Geronimo statue up there.
Yeah, man. But how do you guys feel about going through some rants?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Thank you everybody for tuning in, by the way. Hit that thumbs up. Truly appreciate that. That's one of the great ways you can help support us. Oh, and then also, gotta mention, go to badlandsmedia.tv. I'll do this with you guys. Badlandsmedia.tv. It'll bring you to here. And you click on events. And this is where you can get your virtual ticket for our upcoming conference. Virtual ticket will give you access to watch all the panels. I'm hoping over this weekend we'll release like the schedule. I'm still finalizing some of the panel stuff, but we'll release that this weekend. And then, by the way, big thank you to our sponsor, Love Litters. We'll give them an extra special shout out. Maybe tomorrow on the Power Hour, but Love Litters sponsoring the event. Love you guys. And then our future GARTs. If you can't make this one in person and you want to attend one next year, our entire 2025 schedule is out there. We have Vegas, Plymouth, Massachusetts, Deadwood again, and Cocoa Beach, Florida again. So
dude, there are so many people that have been reaching out to me about the Vegas one. They're like, when can we get it? When can we? Dude, I listen, I think Vegas sells out in 48 hours.
Ooh, that'd be a record.
There's a lot of people that are asking about it, man. Because I'm telling you.
This is what you tell them. If you want early access to get your Vegas ticket, you got to be a ticket holder, whether in person or virtual, to Myrtle Beach, because we're going to put them on sale probably for 2 or 3 days to current Myrtle Beach ticket holders, virtual or in person, and then we'll release them publicly. So just get your virtual ticket.
Pays to get a ticket.
Brilliant. It's a good way to reward loyalty.
Yep. Give you access. So, I was going to look at, see if we got any boosts from, I know we had a little stretch there, like 4 days where for whatever reason our boosts weren't working. Nope, no boosts. So, all right, let's go through the rants. Unless there's any burning topics you guys want to talk about.
No, I'm good. I'm excited for next week, man.
I am too. I can't believe it's this week already. It's going to be crazy. Anyway, BS Girl 1950 says, did you guys have a special today for ticket holders like you mentioned, John? I checked my email all day. Nothing came in. Just don't want to miss anything. We had that yesterday, I think at about 1 Eastern. It should be there. Check your junk mail because we sent out a link about a half an hour prior. And I think we're going to do one more exclusive live stream before GART. So we'll make sure you get that one. But make sure you're checking your junk email for those. Steph Asia, because of Badlands, I made some money doing nothing via River and Bitcoin. Look at that.
Nice. Passive income.
Badlandsmedia.tv/River. Old School 69. I saw Cliff High video before the election. He said he thought Trump would win, but the key is he thinks the Brunson case could be released around December 1st and it could kick off the exposure we all want. Hey, I would love to see that. The Brunson case has made no movement for like the entire 4 years it's been out there. So if it actually would, that would be cool. The real JJ14 Alpha, how long did it take to wash the clown makeup off after hanging out with Nino McKay and Jaco?
Hey, listen, I know people's opinions, and you know what? People treat me good, and they're good friends, and I like them.
Yeah. Not everybody.
And I argue with them. I argue with everybody. So at least you got, there's that.
Not everybody can get along with everybody. It's all good. Nobody's forcing you to like everybody. True deplorable.
I was going to say real quick, John, Phil Godlewski was praising you even on his show.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
sent
I
you that
saw
clip?
that.
What?
You sent me that clip.
Oh, come on, play it. You gotta play it, man. Come on.
I don't even know
Come on, man.
Jay, can you if you send me that in
Was he
Telegram?
being seriserious or was he like?
Want me to send it through
being
Telegram?
sarcastic?
Okay,
I don't remember what it was that he was praising.
I'll find it.
That guy's nuts.
It was something
was-
I found that he was talking
Yeah,
about.
he was talking about something. Let me see if I can find it here.
Anyway, True Deplorable. Trump says 2 rhinos are candidates for the secret vote next week for Senate majority. Let's change their minds on the vote. Check this out. Link in next message. And yeah, there's a link. I'll pull these up. Thank you, True Deplorable. Old feller, 4B movement equals same thing as being married.
Oh shit.
Love it.
Damn.
That was a good one.
Delete
Lucy
that
for
one.
Liberty. Prayers for Trump. Yeah, keep in your prayers, guys. He is a targeted man. Keith O'Higgins, it was very interesting to hear Tim Walz say, I need to swallow some pride. It's very, very interesting to hear Tim Walz named one of his horses Pride. That was good. That was good.
Oh, it's a good one, Keith.
Oh, I like that one.
Okay, I just sent it to you, John.
All right.
On
Do you remember
Telegram.
what it was that he was?
He was talking about devolution, I think, and giving you praise for it. At one point, he says that you don't like him, but he doesn't care. He's going to give you credit. It was flattering, I thought.
I don't want to listen to this whole thing. Because when you sent it, I don't even think I listened to the whole thing.
Oh, really?
I don't think so, but
actually, let me. There we go.
He
Restart it.
turns your stomach that much?
Yeah.
The president. There's a president.
Well, I think it's a committee of people, and they might not even know who the committee is. They may not even know themselves. Does that make sense?
He used the word committee. All right, speaker on the screen right now, in the top left is John Harold. You also used to know him as Patel Patriot. John Harold is the original author of the Devolution series. I did a series myself on devolution, and I used much of John Harold's work.
There was a time where he said I wasn't actually the writer of it. Do you remember that? And he was like, he didn't actually write that. Somebody gave him that, all that.
Number John Harold doesn't like me, but I don't care because in this particular point, he really hammers down on the word committee. Now, again, John Harold, top left, is the guy that pretty much put together for us what devolution is, how it currently applies, and where we are right now in our government, in our political, arena, because of devolution. Now, listen to what he says here.
I refer to, like, it may not be Joe Biden running the country, like these handlers, like all these other things, but he used the word committee. And that immediately, like, my ears perked when he said that, because if you guys recall from my part 13, which is like one of the most consequential articles ever written, I think, in terms of evidence of devolution, Executive Order 13961 from December 7, 2020.
Okay, I know it's sped up, but do I always talk like that fast?
I don't think you talk that fast.
An executive order that was issued under the authority of War and National Defense. This executive order, which has to do with continuity of government, continuity of operations, and during constitutional government, it creates an executive committee. And this committee is tasked with facilitating and implementing the execution of the plan and other continuity policy. Like this is everything. Use the word committee. A lot of it.
So here's why that's important. Let me get this off the screen and go back to me. Wow, I look excellent tonight. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Oh my God.
Here's why this is important. Here's why when I say Trump is very careful when he uses his words and that whole thing. What John is saying is in the devolution handbook, if devolution is currently in place and continuity of government because of the stolen election and all those things, because the stolen election happened, Trump devolved the government, suspended habeas corpus.
I'm sorry. I can't.
I think we've heard enough. I mean, I can only put myself in your shoes, John, hearing Phil interpret what you're saying, telling his audience what John is saying.
Sorry.
Hat tip to my friend Brian from New York. He's the one that found that and sent it to me.
Oh,
to send
Brian.
to
Love
you. So,
Brian. Brian's
yeah,
great.
Brian's the best, man.
Notice I haven't gotten any invites to your Thursday calls, though. So
Well, I don't think we've really done too many of them. They're usually Tuesday, but I will definitely be invited to the next one.
I just miss you guys and whatever. Whatever. You don't miss me. It's all good. Whatever. It's all good.
We were always welcome. You were always
good.
welcome.
No, all good, Brian. Not butthurt about it. PJW Patel Patriot. Here's another one you have to play. For you, PJ, I will do that. Let's check it out. Oh, wait, this is funny. This was great.
I don't think I saw this.
You didn't see? Oh my
Oh.
God, this is so funny.
Oh no, I haven't seen this. This looks
Good
great.
morning, Mayor and Council. I'm speaking in support of item.
We need Alpha here for Alpha. Are you there? I mean, I know.
He disappeared. Well, We could
We'll
do
come
other
back to
rants.
this.
We'll come back to this. Yeah.
I'm here. I'm
It's-
listening.
You're listening. Okay, you gotta check this out.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'm speaking in support of items 5 and 27 because we need to expand Black voices. The voices of our African American brothers and sisters needs to be heard, especially after America chose to elect a white supremacist and educated rapist over the first African American female in United States history. And that's why it's so important now more than ever to be an ally to the Black community. I am in a non-traditional relationship, and the lover that my wife took is an African American with Puerto Rican ancestry. And I see firsthand the struggle that people of color go through on a daily basis thanks to my wife's boyfriend, Armando. Our country was built on a legacy of white supremacy, and we need to foster a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion here in Austin, especially since we elected a literal Nazi to be president. And my wife, she's put me on a sex strike because she is no longer able to seek reproductive health care. And before the election, I had my very own chair right by the bedroom. And now I have to watch my wife and Armando make love from the closet. And it's so lonely in there. So please, 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 for the love of science, for the love of healthcare, pass item 27 because abortion is healthcare, and I am an ally to women.
Oh God, it's so good.
You're really going to clap at that?
It's so good. I mean,
Oh my God, the rainbow mask is the best. That is freaking hilarious. Was that Alex Stein or who was that?
I don't know who it was. The thing
No,
is,
that's
like,
not Alex Stein.
for some people, it might be hard to tell, but he was actually trolling them. Like he was just fucking joking. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize she
Oh.
can't hear. Can
No, she can't hear. She can't hear.
okay, so I'm allowed to swear.
Earmuffs,
Yeah, she's got a
earmuffs.
Marine dad, man. She hears it.
Chew all over that shirt. What is that?
It's the mouse pad.
Oh man, she's a cutie.
You wave? Hi. Wave.
Hi.
Oh,
Yeah,
she hates
you're
me.
not supposed to eat that.
She doesn't
Yeah,
like me. I'm
there's probably
scaring her.
lead in that.
I scare kids. I don't know.
Red dye or something like that.
Yeah, we keep going.
You know what I ate?
As
it
long
when
as
I
you're
was
not
small.
eating crayons like your father, we're good. Where are we at? Press got that. Oh, okay, one Ogal now. John, please check your PO box Tuesday for some music I really want to share with Badlands. Truly worth listening to. Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you for the rant and for sending stuff. I'll go check that out. I haven't been to my PO box in like a couple weeks. Gotta do that. Provost 13, Trump should allow only alternative media and podcasters or streamers to the press conferences this term. I've heard a lot of people talking about that lately. That is pretty interesting. Interesting thought. Tech P-Ness. Tim Pool loves Bud Light. Ask yourself why. Okay, we're going with that. Tech P-Ness again. No scorched earth, the political landscape. Read Whiskey Girl. Hi, Jatriot. Hi, Alpha. Thank you, John, for keeping your integrity as you build this community and Badlands Media. I appreciate all of the team. We'll miss everyone at Myrtle Beach, but we'll be virtual.
Hey, Whiskey Girl.
I see you, Whiskey. We'll miss you too.
Sorry you aren't going to be there.
Yeah, I mean,
But
how
we
can
will-
you top Deadwood? You can only get engaged once, right?
I know. I was going to say she's going to have to get married at one of these guards.
Yep.
I don't know if they set a date or anything, but hey, Vegas is the marriage
Yes.
capital of the world. So just saying.
There we go.
Get on
1027
that, Gary.
JS. Thanks. Loving this convo. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
fellow
Joe.
North Dakotan. Ghostsmith 801. What I don't get about women's rights is, do they not have insurance through their employer? Is that like, are they not allowed to have insurance through their employer or something?
It means that women have rights. They have the same rights as we have. It's silly.
Silly. Thanks, Ghost. Armageddon. This is Champagne Woman. Oh, this is the thing we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, the lady I was talking about.
Would this be worth closing the show out with? Maybe.
Sure.
It's kind of
pretty good.
Yeah, we'll close the video out with it. Brando Commando says Barron youngest president 2028. I think you have to be at least 35, don't you?
35. Yep.
He will not be 35 in 2028.
Quite there.
Brando
And he's 6'9" or something. What the hell is he? He's a monster.
He is a monster. Brando Commando, I live in Ventura, California. I signed the Newscomb recall. I'm smelling the fire. Yeah, Thomas Times 76. I can see it now after the audits. The liberals say, he already won 3, so he can't serve now. I know he didn't serve 3, cough devolution. I've seen that put out there a few times. Brando Commando, I own my own business fixing boats in Ventura, California. I make $100 an hour, and I'm still renting because I can't buy a house in Cali. Real talk, my rent is $4K a month for an outdated shithole. That's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty common now. I don't know how people do it. For reference, when I was in college and I was living on the beach in Newport in a 3-bedroom house with like 4 of my buddies, we paid $1,300 a month for the whole place. My rent for my room was like $300 a month to live
That's
on the
crazy.
sand. And of course, that was a long time ago.
That was like back, in the 20s, 30s? That was probably
like
during the Depression, huh?
Right before the Depression, yeah.
Right before, yeah.
Good old
okay.
days.
Well, makes sense. Steph Asia, we need smart patriots putting together lists of good and bad judges and their decisions and getting that info out to their respective states.
Well, they do
It's out
that
there.
here. I know. I mean, it's out there. You just have to look for it.
Yep. Brando Commando, devolution before your eyes. Not sure what that was referencing, but I probably agree with it. Keith O'Higgins, the story with North Carolina narrative is they voted for a Nazi in Trump, but they drew the line at voting for a black Nazi in Robinson, right? That's such a good point, because the story that came out was like 12 years ago on a forum. The guy like said something about whatever being a Nazi. I don't even know if it was that. Like, I don't even know the full story. So
They sunk him with that.
there's something along those lines, but that's like the ridiculousness of what they're trying to get away with here. Raquel Hall, did you see this? And it's a CNN link to DOJ charges 3 Iranian plot to kill Donald Trump. I did see that. We are going to talk about that on the Power Hour tomorrow. So I'm going to save that one. But thank you, Raquel. I'm assuming you'll be at GART.
She's going to be there.
She comes at everyone. So we'll see you there next week. Angie K, if he shuts down USAID, all of the alphabet agencies will fall, including the CIA. Great point. Deplorable number 1. In 4 years, I'm going to say that 95% of the government that exists now will still be up and running. They're going to give Donald Trump the Kennedy treatment they gave up on this election far too easy. That's the thing. What are they going to do? Because they did give it up very easily.
I will say that is a bit unnerving when I think about it. It almost felt a little bit like playing tug of war, where the other side like just lets go of the rope,
Yep.
Felt a tiny bit like that, and it's a little unnerving, but we'll deal with that when we get back from GART.
If they're not able to steal the house, I think they're going to try to pull something like that.
Yep. TJ Kibble, Chevron deference paves the way to eliminating the vast majority of regulatory agencies. You posted that earlier. It was great timing, and I totally agree with you. Zen Papa, do you think we'll end up buying Greenland? I personally really want Trump to buy it. It has enormous potential with natural resources.
He did talk about doing that.
That would be pretty funny. Give him another state, another 3, 4, 5 electoral college votes.
Yeah, how many people live in that? Does anybody live in Greenland?
No idea. I mean, there's got to be more
I
in
don't
North
think-
Dakota.
It's gonna be somebody there, but
Can you look that up, JJ? I'll keep going.
yeah, I'll look it up.
Crypt Keeper JL, can you guys help with a retort to this comment? Trump won, therefore elections are made legit again, right? It's this is the affirming the consequent. We're going to talk about this tomorrow on the Power Hour too with Patrick, because he's all about this stuff. But I'm pretty sure that's the affirming the consequent.
Population in
argument,
Greenland is 56,000. Sorry,
that's it.
56,865 people in 2023. So it's
It's
very
totally
tiny.
about it. That's so much less than North Dakota. That's less than the town I live in North Dakota.
It's less than
I had no idea. We should totally buy that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Bet you they have great skiing there.
I mean, just
Snowboarding, think about that.
they'll never make more real estate, guys. They'll never make more land. It's one resource they'll never make more of. You got to get as much of it as you can. Trump's a real estate developer. It makes total sense. He's going to buy Greenland.
Is it cold? That's what I needed.
Greenland is cold as ice. Iceland is very nice. Isn't that how they say it? Or is it the other way around?
I don't know. No,
Is it cool?
it's like above Iceland. It's like more like hostile than Iceland, I believe. But think about it, if you put an NFL team there, like every game, every single citizen can go and have pretty
That would
damn
be
good
crazy.
seats.
But if Greenland gets an NFL team before North Dakota does, I'm gonna have some strongly worded letters sent out to the NFL. That would be bullshit.
That would.
But hey, I'm all for expanding the footprint of the United States of America. Crypt Keeper, I just read that one. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Dragonfly Sister, one of my favorite trios. Looking forward to GART Virtual next week. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Purpose 13, a lot of traffic last few days on social media on Brunson case. I thought it was dead. People were referring to Trump's little secret as being this case. Anything to it? I've lost track. Thanks. Everything I've seen about the Brunson case up until like now, every time like the Supreme Court has never touched it, and they turn it away. They come back with another like appeal for it or whatever, and it always gets turned away. So I don't know why this time would be different, but it's totally possible. Like if it does, we'll talk about it when it does. But for now, I don't see any merit to it, unless the Supreme Court's going to actually address it. Keith O'Higgins, I'm against Brazilian gay monkey sex research studies being funded by the U.S. tax dollars. When domestic studies are happening on our soil, Elon will have the government buy and research the Diddy tapes.
There you go.
I mean, buying those tapes probably a waste. I feel like at some point they're going to get out, right?
I hope so.
Deplorable number 1. I see Clarksville, Tennessee in the house. Dixon, Tennessee here. My comment about Trump getting the Kennedy treatment is my theory of what they are planning. I'm hoping for a devolution outcome. We all are.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be worst case scenario. Big D11 Dolores 72. El Salvador cut 262 government to 44. So if they could do it, Trump can do it. California is red.
Yeah, El Salvador is going to bring that up earlier. I mean, there's an example of how quickly things can change literally in a week.
Great example.
They did that in a week?
I don't think it was quite that quick.
It wasn't quite that, but I mean, yeah, it was really quick. I mean, he rounded up, say, like within months. You know, I'm exaggerating with the week, but it was really quick.
This is what happens when you buy Bitcoin, guys. You buy Bitcoin, you can do anything, literally anything. Especially when you do it through badlandsmedia.tv/river.
Exactly.
Bama Girl 2560. I'm not an expert. Badlands has been a source of facts for me since 21. A lot of confusion trying to figure out who are fake versus real citizen reporters. Digital soldiers can be deceiving. Any advice? I mean, honestly, like we'll talk shit about some people. Other people are going to talk shit about us. Like it's up to you to discern who you find to be your source of truth, and it's up to you to do the research to like verify who's the source of truth. Like there are some people out there bigger than us telling the truth. There's people out there smaller than us telling the truth, but there's people out there bigger than us lying and people smaller. Like everybody's in this for their own reasons, doing their own thing. We do our best. It's up to you to decide and discern for yourself. I think
one little rule of thumb, though, just to eliminate a whole bunch of them is just don't trust anybody who was never banned from YouTube. That's my rule of thumb.
It's a great one. It's a great one. And I will say too, if the more they've been banned from YouTube, probably the more trustworthy. And we're on our 5th account.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. J-Trade. Luke 7486. Of course, Trump is smarter than me, but I think I found the cure to the hordes of foreigners taking over my apartment building. Foreign worker levy, the person version of a tariff. It's interesting. Buster Duster Cars. I'm in SoCal. And have you guys heard of 51st State of New California? Yep. Can I get some free Vegas tickets? I live in California. I can't afford them, unfortunately, but I really want to go. Maybe we could figure out a way to like give away some free tickets to Vegas, but I can't just like right now give you free tickets. So if I give you free tickets, I have to give everybody free tickets. It just wouldn't work out. But we'll figure something out to find a way to get some people there who otherwise couldn't. Julie J.N. Fun show tonight, gentlemen. Thank you. This California woman is with you too. We need our election system fixed. Get rid of Hollyweird would certainly help.
Well, let's talk about that. How irrelevant was Hollyweird in this election? I mean, they went all in and on the losing team.
Yeah. Dak 8869. I want to thank everyone that voted Dak for moderator 2024. Our campaign was a historic and monumental success. John, I expect an inauguration ceremony in Myrtle Beach. That's crazy. I had no idea there was a campaign going on within the Badlands chat, but congratulations on your victory, bro. We'll talk Myrtle Beach. We'll talk. Tomahawk, they need a second Mount Rushmore with Kennedy, Nixon, Reagan, and Trump. The original was to celebrate our first 100 years as a country. We need one for the second century.
That's kind of a cool idea.
It's a great idea. Crypt Keeper, Badlands election coverage was awesome. We ended up staying with you because you peeped the other news channels anyway. Top tier commentary, not boring, excellent coverage. Fuck yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun doing it.
Dude, it was damn good, man. I have to give you thanks for keeping us all entertained while we were being informed. That's can be really tedious. Like I've watched election nights like my whole life, but man, it gets so damn boring, after a while. But you guys kept us entertained, so
we try our best. That's the thing, like with Badlands, we're all friends, like actually friends for the most part.
Yeah.
And so it makes it easy to just like hang out. And we're just like hanging out with our buddies, watching TV with everybody in front of it. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you guys get it.
It's so hard doing these cases on you guys. It's like, God, man.
As like the infiltrator Fed, you're saying? Yeah.
It's so hard being the Fed in the group.
I still got my eye on you.
You're like Alpha. You're like the plot of Point Break, man. You're like the Keanu Reeves character, just starting to bond with the surfer dude, Patrick Swayze. That's you, bro.
It's so funny. Like when we give people shit about being a Fed, it's because we like are not. We more than likely think you are an actual Fed than not. So like you, and then when we had Joe Rambo on the Liberty Den, I was like repeatedly calling him a Fed because nobody gets that many followers that quickly. And so I don't know. I got questions still. I got questions.
Always keep your head on a swivel, John.
I need a DNA test before I'm convinced that's your kid, bro.
I need another kid. They're not buying this one.
Well, they're not.
I need to be.
You're not supposed to say they're not buying my kid on the internet, bro.
On Wayfair or what, man?
No.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant.
I know. We're just teasing. Provost 13. Did you guys see where Ivy League colleges were offering students Legos, crayons, cookies, and milk to help them cope with the Trump win during classes? Hilarious.
Yeah,
that is hilarious.
I've seen a lot of like letters from friends of mine like that work for really woke companies. If you need a day off, it's okay. We have counselors ready. We can have group therapy and all that stuff. It's just hilarious, man. Specification of this country.
I'll believe that's her kid if you can get her to wave. Can you wave? Doesn't count as a wave.
Okay, there you go.
Doesn't count.
Definitely a Fed.
Total Fed. All right, Zen Papa. I'm 20. Wow, 20. That's awesome. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
We don't get many people that age. The youngest that I knew we had, Trump NATO. His kid, I think, watches occasionally. Ja. In the chat. He's pretty young. 20 might be the youngest though. Anyway, Zen Papa. I'm 20. My generation really showed up this election, and many of us, including me, voted for Trump. Badlands Next 22 are my main source for news. Thank you for all you do. I would honestly love to talk to you sometime to like figure out how we reach more people your age. It's the hardest demographic for us to reach.
And Gen Z really, the numbers really went towards Trump. I don't think it was the majority, but it was a huge gain in that demographic. So that's really encouraging for the future.
Yeah, actually, for the people who were mad at us for talking about Charlie Kirk earlier, we tried getting some TPUSA people, like somebody from that crowd, to come on and talk about the younger generation, and they wouldn't do it. So us Q folk, devolution folk, we're too crazy for them. GP Shea, we need to start a GoFundMe for Armando. Yeah, that was super funny. Vegas Deplorable 26. Somebody say Vegas. Vegas Gart, let's go. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What was the date on that? March like 6th to the 9th or something. It's on the website. Keith O'Higgins, a clip you need to add to your drop list now is from Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke movie where Pee Wee Herman screams, "I think they're Iranians." A classic and prescient. Ooh, I like that.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It's good. I'll find that.
Fun little clip.
Let me take a screenshot of that comment so I remember to do it for tomorrow. All right. Angie K, when Reagan was first elected, it was largely because of illegals and the economy. Illegals mostly self-deported, made it easier to get out the rest. It's good. Crayon 59, nice thing is cash you have sitting in River pays interest at 3.8% in Bitcoin monthly. That is another great benefit of it. Put cash in there, they'll pay you interest in Bitcoin. A nice little savings. Thank you, Crayon, for reminding me of that. Deplorable number 1, Tennessee literally banned chemtrails through the state legislature. That's how you do it. Papa DB1, the people Trump surrounded himself with near the end scares the shit out of the deep state. Yes, it does. And notice how many of those people that are on our side are scared of those same people. It's interesting, isn't it? Real Red, Trump is anointed, according to many prophets. While we need to keep praying for him, J13 should show they can't kill him. They also tried to blow up Air Force One while he was president, according to Eye of the Storm. It's been rumored.
Yep.
It's been rumored. But that's all of them, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up. Is your kid going to wave me yet?
Wave, baby. You want to make some noise? Make some noise. No? Okay, sorry. Just gave me the look.
All right. But hey, tune in tomorrow. Power Hour should be fun. Get your virtual ticket to GART. We're going to do a live stream sometime before GART, and then we're going to live stream a lot of stuff there. You're not going to want to miss it. Yeah, I think that's Zen Papa, John at badlandsmedia.org. And to the rest of you guys, we will see you next time.
Take care.
We're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard. Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. And I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye.